Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Sunday. It is time for the Warhammer Sundays. I'm getting no response from my volume meter, so I assume you can all see and hear me okay. Welcome, welcome. And yes, I have checked the light on my microphone, Chris. It's not flashing. I'm not muted. Welcome, welcome. It's Warhammer Sunday. It's that time of the week when I sit down and crack on with my Warhammer Conquest backlog of plastic to get it all assembled so that later on in the year I can start with the filming of the painting and all that goodness. So welcome, welcome. Basically, I'm going to sit here for the next 3 hours and potentially do some work. Probably not do that much work, but I'm going to crack on with the land speeder, the Space Marine land speeder we started last week. I've made some slight adjustments to where the microphone goes. It's over there now, so hopefully it won't be as boomy and bassy and terribly balanced as it has been for the last few weeks, which I've discovered every time I put my head down towards the desk when I was working, it got really horrible and bassy. So hopefully with the microphone over there, I use some logic and some logic of how sound reflects off surfaces and how the microphone works. I thought I'll be an engineer for a minute and I'll figure it out. So hopefully it works now. Hopefully. It probably doesn't. Anyway, yes, welcome, welcome. I've got 3 hours now to try and do some work whilst hanging out with you guys in the chat. If you've not seen one of these before, basically it's just your chance to hang out in the chat. Have me on in the background. You have to sit and watch because you won't really see much. Just a chance for you to sit there, have me on in the background while you're doing something else, like Chris playing Skyrim, and just have a good time, have a laugh in the chat, and I'll waffle on to myself for 3 hours. I went dead high pitch there. I do apologise. As always, before we get going, as always with my streams, massive shout out to the people that support this channel and make it possible. First of all, my Patreon supporters on Patreon. You can see the address down there, patreon.com/modelmakingguru. If you want to help directly support this channel, you can become a patron, and you basically pay my bills. So you keep me alive, you keep my food on my table. So thank you massively to you guys. You make it possible for me to do this for my living. Also, my channel sponsors and supporters, we've got Goblin Gaming and emodels.co.uk. Links for both of them in the description below the video. eModels, your traditional modelling shop, and Goblin Gaming, your traditional tabletop gaming supply and modelling shop. Go and check them both out. If you want to go to Goblin Gaming, you can get 20% off Games Workshop, Malifaux and Conflict 47 and massive savings on loads of other stuff, including the Skyrim tabletop game. Oh yes, Force Rodar. Go and check them out. If you want to go there, though, use the link in the description below the video. Don't just go to their website, because that link in the description is my affiliate link. It tells them that I sent you, or that you came from me, and I get a little bit of income from that. It doesn't cost you anything. I just get an affiliate income, so thank you if you decide to go to that. Of course, if you want to help support the channel less directly, you can do a super chat. I've got the chat here in front of me. I will be looking at the chat as I work and looking at you and talking to you and all that. So if you want to get my attention, do put your comments in big fat capital letters. But if you want to get noticed and also support me at the same time, you can do a super chat, which is the dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. That will put your comment in a coloured box and put an animation up here, and that helps me, that supports me directly as well. So massive thank you if you decide to do that. What else? Oh yeah, and always don't forget, we've got the stream boss battle going. I don't make any money off this, but this is a way for you guys to get up to 500 quid's worth of massive swag from Games Workshop, Forge World, or Goblin Gaming if you're in the UK or the EU. Basically, you're going to work together as a community to build up a massive pot of money. Every time you put a tip in the tip jar, which is down here, streamlabs.com/modelmakingguru. I should put that address up there, shouldn't I, so you can see it, so it's related to it. Every time you put a tip in the tip jar, super chat has come through. Your tis, says Dad. Thank you very much, Dad. You can see I've got a little, you might not see it, but there's a sort of blue thing here in the chat. And you get a little animation. And also, someone just subscribed. Let me just see who that was. We have a subscription from... It doesn't tell me. Brilliant. Fantastic. It's not telling me who it was. I do apologise. But thank you, whoever that was who subscribed. Why is it not telling me who subscribed? Give me 1 second. Let me make an adjustment. Why is it members? Put it on members. There we go. David Denham. David Denham subscribed. Thank you very much for subscribing, David Denham. You're more than welcome. Yes, so if you want to help build up a pot of money, get putting tips in the tip jar. Every time you put a tip in the tip jar, address is down there, it takes some of George, who's your current stream boss, George Gabriel's health off. Whoever gets him down to 0 health wins all the money in that pot. And the more money you put in a tip, the more health comes off. So if you put $1 in, it'll take off X amount of health. If you put in $10, it takes 10 times that health, and so on and so on. If you get him to 0, you get to win all the money in that pot, and you can order whatever you like from Games Workshop, Forge World, or Goblin Games. But yeah, get putting your tips in. Obviously, don't just put a whole massive load of money in to get to zero now, because you'll just be paying for yourself. The trick is to put in as little as possible, get as much out. So get putting your tips in. I make no money off that. I don't get any income from that. That's just for you guys. Right, before we get going, we're going to be working on the Land Speeder. We started last week. It's the Space Marine Land Speeder. It's about 1 billion years old, this kit, so it's old-style Marines. And we'll just get it built. I am working my way through all the kits. So I'm up to issue, this is 47. My hope is, my idea, well, my plan is that each week we'll go through and get some of these built. By the end of it, we'll have everything built in advance. And then I'll start painting them all up and doing proper video painting series for you, for all of them. I did start painting these and filming them. You'll see there's a playlist on my channel for these. I did start painting them just following the magazine, but I realised that was a complete waste of time, because you could just follow the magazine if you wanted to. So I've scrapped that. They're going to get paint stripped off them, and we're going to start from scratch. We're going to paint everything properly, much better than the magazine shows you how to paint. So that's going to be the plan. So that's me later this year. Right, quick look at the chat. Now, I don't know who was in first, because I don't go that far back. But the first comment I had, well, I know Pascal was first, because he said good morning just before I put the stream live earlier on this morning. Candy Grab from Mongo is in, and more Draka and Beyond Hope. Welcome to you three. Beyond Hope says, you guys are way too early. Go have a pint or three while we wait. Fox will probably be still in makeup till 2:45. 3:10 now. I'm always in makeup. You don't realise that. I'm always in makeup. Have a look. Mordraka says, I tell you, after painting 7 Plague Marines with all flails of contagion, you would not want to have to paint anything with lead belcher for a while. I've got 40 Poxwalkers to paint when I get this thing finished, as well as all the other Death Guard. 40 Poxwalkers. That's going to be fun. We have Eric Graham, Andy McLeish, and Pascal is in. Pascal came back in. Quano Man, welcome to you lot. This said Andy McLeish, didn't I? Yes. Dad, of course, is one of your mods. Dad and Chris at Gross Models are 2 of your mods who are in today. Your mods, of course, are lovely, lovely folks. They really look after you. They'll keep you safe and protected in chat. They'll make sure there's no nasty spam comments and all that kind of stuff going on. No nonsense. But if you cross them, they will drop you off a cliff. Alive. And it's a very tall cliff. And they'll drop your head first. So don't mess with them. Don't cross them. They will kick your ass. But you look after you if you're good, if you behave well. Remember, of course, this is my own personal stream. It's not one for any of my sponsors or supporters. So you can do all the swearing you want in the chat. I don't care. I'm not going to read it out because it is monetized, but I don't care if you swear in chat. Let's have a look. We have Rascals Hobbies. Hello, howdy everyone, says Rascals Hobbies. Welcome, Rascals. Andy McLeish says he has news. Sergeant Bones is in. He's rubbing in the fact that he's got a smell of roasting meat in his house because he's making some brisket, and I have no food at all until I have my dinner later on. I'm absolutely ravenous. I really am. My stomach is actually digesting itself right now out of desperation. It's like... Let's have a look. I've not come across Andy McLeish's announcement yet. He says he's got good news and then he doesn't say anything. It may be later. I officially start my secondment for assistant manager on the 1st of April. Congratulations. More money. Woohoo! Except it's a secondment. Oh, yeah, you'll get more money eventually, don't worry. Unless, see, when I was in the civil service, secondment meant you did somebody else above you's job, but you didn't get their money, and that was like, But it was a shoo-in to actually get the job 6 months down the line, and you got more money. I assume things have changed since then. That was going back 30 years. That was civil service as well, which was tight-fisted, so. But congratulations. Hopefully it's the start of good things.
Pika pika!
We had a thing pop through. Down with George says, where's it gone? More Draka 09 tipped £2.55. Down with George. Now, thank you very much for the tip there. Down with George. If you're wondering why some of the tips sometimes and things like super chats are on it funny little numbers, it's because probably they're in dollars. Quick word to my patrons, by the way. Patreon are looking into, those of you who are in the UK, Patreon are looking into setting up in pounds. So if you are a patron at the minute, of course, you're forced to pay in dollars. That might change in the future, so stay tuned. But yes, more Draka, thank you very much for that tip. Although I say it doesn't benefit me directly, but it benefits you guys. Down with George. He will have taken some of his health off there. George is quite cocky. He thinks he's going to be the stream boss for a long time, but I think you guys can get him out. Yeah, Sergeant Bones is rubbing my nose in it with meats and smells of meats. Fox is, according to YouTube, interested in the trains of Fallout, he says. Yeah, I said in the chat in Colin's stream earlier, I went into YouTube, excuse me, to watch Colin and Dave's stream, and you know, it has the suggested videos down the side. It's like, we think you'd like to watch The Trains of Half-Life. I'm like, what? Somebody's actually made a video about the trains in all the Half-Life games from the point of view of a train spotter, looking at them in the game and comparing them to the real version. And it's like, but you're thinking I'm being... Why? Why would I... Why? Half-Life, yes. Train, no. Yeah, so YouTube has some very weird thoughts about my viewing preferences. Beyond Hope is in and says, if anyone wants me, I'm over here in the corner magnificating some Skaven storm fiends. Ooh, Skaven rat dudes. Fiddly Ratman, yes, build, says Andy McLeish. How much build time will Fox accumulate today, says Beyond Hope. Oh, minutes. Beyond Hope says, don't tell me, I bought 2 Skaven start collecting boxes and these Storm Fiends to start a Skaven army, and I'm learning to hate Plague Monks. I actually quite like the look of the Skaven. I might get some Skaven at some point. I'm not going to get any this year. I said to someone the other day, my plan is this year not really to buy or get any more models because I've got a staff big enough that I've got enough stuff to get on with this year, and I'm trying to save money, so I might not have any new stuff coming in this year. So I might get some Skaven next year, maybe. Unless I get them to paint them and sell them, of course. Lewis Williamson is in. Welcome, Lewis. He says it's him. He's sorted out his login, so Lewis Williamson is Lewis Williamson. And he says, Natalie is sat reading a book after doing dinner and before she starts sorting my bags for work. We have Eric Graham. Welcome, Eric. We have... Who else have we got in? David Sanderson. Hey, Fox, did you have a successful stream yesterday? I did, thank you. And as I say in the chat, I seem to have fixed the gremlins that were stopping me doing streams on Saturday afternoon. The Saturday afternoon curse is broken, I think. A mixture of changing some Windows auto-update settings, turning off Windows auto-update at the weekend, dropping the bitrate a little bit from the Xbox to the PC, all seems to fix everything. Yes, fingers crossed it's fixed now. There will be more Skyrim on Saturdays from now on, I think. Khajiit believes this, yes. Still not sorted out my Khajiit voice just right yet. Let's have a look. Who else have we got? Interzone 88. Greetings, Fox, Dad, and all. Welcome, Interzone. Iru is in. Or Iru. Do let me know the correct pronunciation. I'm assuming it's Iru, because you've got the harp in there. Let's have a look. Death of Hope, lads, unbelievable. Get a look in. I don't know what that is, but I shall find it later on. Welcome. We have Quanoman. We've said Quanoman already. Where are we? Chris says he's playing Skyrim. He says, don't let Fox know, but I'm playing Skyrim. And I say, I hope you're arrowing everything. But then I says, but I'm not jealous, because no matter how much Chris plays today while he's watching this, because him and Paul were talking about playing Skyrim earlier on. I was like, oh, I want to go and play Skyrim now. I've got to do my stream. I want to go and play Skyrim. But however much he plays today, he won't pull off a shot like I did yesterday. I pulled off a mint shot. I hit a target from 1,000 feet away with an arrow, and I had to lead the target because she was walking along, so I was like, it's going to go there. Thwunk, spong, dead. It's a perfect shot. I am a hardcore arrowist. Let's have a look. Jamie Bone is in. Welcome, Jamie. Roast chicken or roast beef today, Jamie? Do let me know. Of course, I know you've answered this question in the last stream, of course, with the Colin stream, but if you've been watching that. But bench and belly, what's on your bench? What are you working on? It can be anything. It doesn't have to be a model. It could be a crafted project of some sort. And what's on your belly? What's in your belly? Even what have you had for your dinner? Or what are you planning for your dinner? ATTG is in. Welcome. Stephen Werner, sorry, I abbreviated your name there without permission. Stephen Werner, welcome. Nim is in, of course. Welcome, Nim. Robert Powell hanging out, but unfortunately not at the bench until communism has been verbally abused via history class responses, then after priming all things mini. Excellent. Hoi hoi all, says Iru. I assume it's Iru, because it's Ire, isn't it? Oh no, Landspeeder, gah, says Andy McLeish. Sound is perfect, says Dad. Dad asked the question, what's on your bench and what's in your belly? Ooh, found a dragon, says Chris. Back soon. Just arrow it. ATTG says, one of my mates has one of these. I wrecked it first term in my Razorback and the Melter Squad, but they're pretty neat. Let's have a look. Decals on the camphor, then painting. Oh, everybody's answering the bench and belly question already. Name is decals on her camphor and then painting either the Musha or the Nataku. Belly, I don't know yet. Maybe ham steak and mashed potatoes. Yes. Beyond Hope says belly Yorkshire pudding filled with sausage mash and some disgusting peas. Peas are rubbish. Just don't have peas. Take all the peas off the plate and put something good in there instead, like more meat or chips or not peas. Everything just jumped. Bench, Skaven, and hordes of the buggers. Love disgusting peas, says Sergeant Bones, because he's weird. Aru is making car full of side doors for missile doors. They're green, they're disgusting, they're in the bin, says someone, and it jumped. I do apologise. Put a Beyond Hope about peas. Paul de hang on. Big coffee time because my words aren't working. Big coffee. Aww. Paul D. Tommaso is in. Welcome, Paul. Peas suck. Viva la broccoli, says AT. I like broccoli. Eric Graham says belly, Lucky Charms, cereal and coffee. Bench working on scenery for the model train layout. Awesome. Anything green is bad for you. Never eat green bread, meat, cheese or grass. Yeah. Quick whiz through the rest of them. I don't want to get too stuck on the chat. Got to get some work done. Split disgusting pea soup with ham hocks. Lovely. Well, you see, pea soup. This is where it gets weird because pea, like you get like pea soup with bacon and stuff in it. That's actually all right because it's not just peas. It's got other stuff to flavour it, like bacon. But just peas. Peas are just water in a solid form. I like mushy peas. Don't get me wrong. I'm a northern lad. I love me some mushy peas. But peas, just no. There'll be no peas in our time. Spam, wonderful spam, beautiful spam, says David Sanderson. Glad to hear you, Mr. Fox. Now I can stomach university on a Sunday, says Robert Powell. Cool. Where are we? Hello, says David Denham. All of you wargamers, welcome, David. I'm guessing you've not watched before. I've never actually played, but I love the models. I'm a model maker, so I love the models, and I'm working my way through the Warhammer Conquest part work. I think most of the people that watch this probably don't play, but they do build the models. Not everybody that watches this actually makes Warhammer stuff. I'm like the least Warhammer person in the world that does a show on a Sunday every Sunday about Warhammer. Secondment is moving, says Beyond Hope, to another department on loan. You're probably thinking of TDA when you cover a superior's job while they are away. You could be right. We used to call it secondment, but yes, in that case, cool, awesome. ATTG says, speaking of Poxwalkers, one of my friends read Crusade, the Black Library book, and proceeded to get 10 squads of Poxwalkers and a bunch of Death Guard. I won, but at what cost? Yes. Paul Dittamar says, just a modeler. Sergeant Bone says, now, this is about, are we all wargamers? Now we're a bunch of daft blokes. ATTG says, gotta go, see you, thanks for coming in, buddy. Algorithm Reason Never, says Ira. New Primaris are good sets. Let's have a look. I'm a new modeler and looking at building some Warhammer models, says Rascals. Is there any good starter models to build? I've said this before. I'll get it again. Oh, I'll get it again. Just for... If you don't know if you like Warhammer, if you want to build any models and you don't want to spend a lot of money, get the Land Speeder Storm. Not this Land Speeder. Get the Land... This is old and dusty now. I do need to clean this off. Get the Land Speeder Storm. Because it's only like 19 quid. And the reason it's a good kit just to try out Warhammer is because you're getting everything you're getting. It's a vehicle, so you're getting a feel for how their vehicles go together. You're getting how to paint the vehicles. You're also getting 6 dudes, so you're getting a feeling for how to paint the dudes, how they go together. And it's a good all-round kit, and it's like 19 quid. It's one of the cheapest for what you get in their selection. You could just buy a pack of dudes, but then you're just painting dudes. You might not. You may as well get this. So you could buy a pack of 5 Space Marines that'll cost you 20 quid, or you can get this for 20 quid. And like I say, it's a vehicle and it's 6 dudes, so you get a whole gamut of painting everything, and you get a bit of experience. So yeah, get yourself a Land Speeder Storm. Make sure it's the Land Speeder Storm because that's the one with 6 dudes in it. Just because it's a nice all-round kit. If you don't want to spend, because you don't want to spend you don't want to go out and buy an Imperial Knight and then realise you hate Warhammer or Games Workshop kits. That'd be a lot of money to spend. Paul Di Tommaso says the deer butt shot was hilarious because I said in the chat I'm a butt shot master. Yes, I killed a deer by firing an arrow right into its rear end. There was like, yesterday on the Skyrim stream, and I also managed to make a car go hundreds of feet into the air with an arrow because I have masterful command of physics. David Denham says you can even make your own chapter. Yes, you can make up your own chapter. It has to abide by certain rules set out in the codices. You can't just make up your own rules. But you can make up your own chapter. You can make your own chapter design. There is a thing called Chapter Approve, which gives you basic sort of traits and guidelines you can use. Or you can just paint up your own chapter and say they are called the Bob's Dobelinas and they play the same as Ultramarines or Imperial Fists or whatever. It doesn't really matter. You can do your own colours and patterns and stuff like that. But when it comes to the rules for playing them, you have to abide by the exit. You can't just make up, all my guys have got double health and they're immune to all weapons. You can't just do that. So, Jamie Bone, Belly, scrambled egg on toast, bench to me, a 148th Hetzer tank destroyer. Right, let's whiz forward a little bit. Can I tell me if Vanguard, Primaris, Space Marines utilise vehicles? If so, which would be the best to put in first? At the moment, Primaris have very few vehicles. A lot of the old vehicles like these, they're not compatible with the new Primaris Marines because they're apparently too tall or something. So you've got the Primaris Repulsor and the variants of that tank, Repulsor tank, and I think that's it. There are some new ones coming out, some bikes and stuff, but at the moment I think that's the only... Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It's only the Repulsor tanks. I don't even think like Land Raiders and Lehman Russes and things. Well, not Lehman Russes. Land Raiders and Chimeras and things I think can't take them. You like broccoli, but you don't like peas. Broccoli has a crunch and a flavour. Peas are just like water with a skin. Stephen Werner says, no problem, Fox. Bench is Mutarian building. Love it. Yep, I've got Mutarian. I primed it and then put it in a box. I've got to get back to it at some point. Vanguard, I drop force like Paras. Oh, actually, that's a point. Yeah, it's Vanguard. I don't know, actually. Ignore everything I just said about vehicles. I was talking about bog standard Space Marines, not Vanguard types. King Flash Rose Gaming says hello, welcome. Right, I think we're up to date with the chat. King Flash Rose Gaming. At the moment I just learned that virtual RAM existence is something new every day. Yes. Is that the new okay, is that the new Dreadlord with the cage on the front? That's a Primaris thing, yes. This is just a Land Raider. Right, let's do some work. So, big swig of coffee. Welcome to everybody. I know I got it higgledy-biggledy through the chat, but I don't want to spend all day going. Half an hour is enough to get through the chat. Right. Let's crack on. So, we're building the Land Speeder, issue 47. And I've got certain things I need to keep an eye out for. Like I'm building this with an eye to how much I can put together before I need to not glue things because I need to be able to paint them. So there'll be a lot of sub-assemblies today, I think. This may end up just as a big pile of sub-assemblies. I don't know. We need to do drive test fits and things. So what do we need? We need the side walls. Now, because this is a 20-odd-year-old kit, of course, nothing is numbered. Hey! Nothing is marked in the instructions with numbers at all. They didn't have numbers in them days. We weren't quite everything in black and white, but nobody had invented numbers, it would seem. So, luckily, all the parts are completely distinct. So, go off the parts. I've got the Astra Militarum Valkyrie that I need to build. The kit I need to build at some point, and that's looks. I've not built one yet. It looks fantastic, and I can't wait to build it. But yeah, none of it's numbered, so I just have to hope I don't mess it up completely. Right, now I've put the space helmet of seeing on, of course, my big visor helmet, so apologies if it comes into shot all the damn time. It's the price you pay for me seeing things. Right, so we'll go in with the Games Workshop nippers. We'll go in with the God Hands just to trim a little bit more. If I can get rid of any nubs this way, save myself some scrapey. Yes, I have changed the position of the microphone today, so hopefully while I'm down here working like this, it won't be quite as boomy. I did notice in the last few shows, because I had the microphone over there originally, when I'm talking, the sound is bouncing off the desk and kind of getting reflected by all the things around it, and it's getting really boxy. So although I sounded fine when I was looking at the camera, as soon as I looked up away from the camera, looked down to the desk, sorry, to do some work, it got really it boosted the bass almost and the volume, and because I use a compressor and a limiter at the same time on the microphone input, it kind of went a bit weird. So yeah, I fixed. So hopefully, shouldn't be a problem now. It should sound a lot more balanced, whether I'm looking at the microphone directly or talking down at the desk. Because it's a cardioid microphone. Audio backstory here. It's a cardioid microphone, which is really ideally you're going to be facing it directly to talk into it. Otherwise, it's losing some of the frequencies because you're talking from the side. So it's basically facing the side of my head. So it doesn't really care whether sound's bouncing off that way because it's not picking up the sound over there. It's only picking up the sound here, and that's fine because it doesn't change when I'm looking down at the desk. So let me know in the comments as the show goes on. Let me know if it sounds a bit better. Hopefully it does. I need my knife. The only two Primaris vehicles are the repulsor tanks and its variants and the impulsor transport. Yes, that's it so far. There are some rumoured Primaris bikes. They were seen in the background on a pixelated blurry photograph. You know, the kind of picture that the Games Workshop leaks department puts out on a potato cam. So they're rumoured to be some bikes. I think there are some other transports coming in. But basically, yeah, if you've built yourself a nice big Primaris Space Marine army at the minute, you're a bit knackered for vehicles. And there's probably some fluffy lore reason why they can't go in them. They're too big, or they're not. Their technology isn't. I don't know. There's probably some silly fluff reason why. But the real reason is they want you to buy more vehicles when they make more vehicles. Like they're not gonna come up with the Primaris and then not take the chance of saying, but now you need all new vehicles. Hooray! Yeah, they're not gonna miss that chance. They're gonna take advantage of that completely. Of course they are. Right, so there's that bit. Oh, knocking the camera, sorry. David Denham says, I've only got one more magazine left and we'll have the full set from 1 to 80. Brilliant. I'm up to... What's my latest one at the minute? My latest one is issue 74. So I've got 6 more to go. And then I've got them all. My plan is to get all the... Like I said, I did start filming how to paint them. Video guides. But I was just filming them, following the magazine. And I realised there really was no point at all doing that. There's no benefit to me doing what the magazine said. You know, following what the magazine said. And then doing that as a video for you guys. Because you could just read the magazine and see exactly the same stuff. And besides, it wouldn't have come out looking that great anyway. It wasn't going to be such a fantastic paint job. So, this bit here lines up. But there's a little bit of wiggle room to it. Not exactly 100% flush. So if that goes on the back here, like this, that sits there. Are you going to see inside here? I need to not necessarily glue it in. Actually, I probably could glue that in place. Well, I don't want to glue these two together yet because I want to make sure this. In fact, now what I'll do is I'm not going to glue these to the base, but I'm going to glue it to itself and get it locked in position. So let's get it sorted. Now I'm going to be using 2 types of glue. If you've not seen one of these shows before, I always explain it. I use 2 types of cement or glue for polystyrene kits. I use Tamiya Extra Thin. And I use Tamiya regular cement. I do also have some of the very fast extra thin, but I haven't had to use that yet. I've not broken into it yet because I've got loads of this stuff. So I use Tamiya extra thin and Tamiya cement. Tamiya cement is fat, thick stuff. I often call it Tamiya fat. It's all thick and gloopy. It doesn't even drip off the brush. And Tamiya thin is like water. You'll see me use both. This stuff is great because you can put 2 pieces together and then touch the glue to it, and the glue gets sucked into the parts with capillary action, so you don't have to make a big mess. You can put them together and then glue them. However, I want some, and when it's something that's load bearing, like you're gluing an arm or a leg, or you want to be able to handle 2 things without them falling apart straight away, this welds plastic together. It takes a minute to work. So what you'll often see me do is where I want some kind of structural integrity, or some load bearing, I'll use the fat cement and the regular like I'm about to do now, just to get some stick, because this isn't necessarily a welding cement. It does weld a little bit, but not as much as the green extra thin. The reason I'm going to use that now is because if I stick these together here, they'll stay together. If I'd used extra thin, that would just fall straight off. But I've still got play in it. So what I need to do now is get it here and just make sure it's lined up with the back and there. There's no glue sticking out. Good. There's no glue splooging out. So I can do that. Now what I will do is, the bond you get from the green extra thin is far stronger than the bond you get from this, because this literally melts the plastic together. So if I get this, I make sure this plastic part doesn't touch the floor of the vessel. And I'll just touch this to the gap where it joined. That's it. That's all I need to do. Get a big fingerprint on the back, but you're not going to see that, so it doesn't matter. Put some glue on my finger. Oh, let me just clean that glue off before it takes the grid off my mat. Oh, that was close. It nearly took the grid off my mat there. Don't quite know how I spilled that. How did I get that on my finger? Anyway, yes, so the extra thin welds the plastic together a lot more than the regular cement. If you didn't know that, it basically takes two pieces of plastic, you put them together, you run the extra thin down the gap, and it melts the plastic, and this two pieces of plastic then basically just become one. And it's a much stronger bond than any other kind of glue for polystyrene polystyrene plastic. There we go. Dad says no device. Oh yeah, I forgot, because I took them out to show you what they were, and my device is over there. My device is here. Sorry, Dad. I took them out to show and then forgot. Right, so they're glued together. Thick cement to hold it in place and the thin cement to weld it. Let's see who's texting me. Use your device. Yeah, that's Dad telling me off for not using my dad device. Yeah, sorry, Dad. It's because I took them out to show everybody. Yeah, so that's now the fat glue to hold it in place while I positioned it, and the thin glue is now welding it together, so we can put that to one side. There you go. Yes, Dad always tells you off if you don't use his dad devices. Do. What the hell just happened there? Video went all wonky for a second. I don't know. People are talking about the Mortal Realms set. Yes, if you've not subscribed to this one and you don't know if you want this, or the Mortal Realms one is the Age of Sigmar equivalent of this, basically. I've got some side parts to do. And what am I doing here now? That one. It does seem, from first blush, just looking at what you get, that with the Mortal Realms, the Sigmar version of this part work, you actually get a better deal in terms of plastic. Because with this, which is the 40k one, if you're a premium subscriber, you get like some better game boards, you get some dice, you get bits, like little accessories, you get all the data sheets for the figures, you get separate standalone data cards. It's all very nice. They're all, quite good. But that's all you can really get. With the Mortal Realms thing, what you get is you actually get a whole mess of extra plastic, because in the Mortal Realms you've got the Nighthaunt and you've got the Stormcast as your two factions. What you get in Mortal Realms is you get a little sampler of lots of other factions from the game. You get a little pack of dudes. So you basically all your extras for that part work are more plastic. But on the other hand, I don't think the Nighthaunt selection for Mortal Realms is anywhere as interesting as what you get in this set. In this set, you get all your Space Marines, you get loads of vehicles, you get your Death Guard with Plague Marines, Poxwalkers and all kinds of stuff, and you get the scenery. Nighthaunt are just kind of like, they're all the same. They're all just the ghosty bloke with a couple of bigger models. So, I don't know. I think the regular, if you're not bothered in which game, I think the regular subscription you get a better deal with this, with the 40k stuff. But if you're doing a premium subscription, I think premium subscribers to the Mortal Realms get the better deal. I mean, don't get me wrong, the data cards and stuff are really nice, But yeah. Remember, folks, don't glue the side doors if you want the missiles. I have not forgotten. I thank you all. I thank you very much. Oops, let's get that a bit flatter. Sorry, Guthorm's here, by the way. I just prodded him with the sander. Sorry. He's off to one side. As always, I'm trying different camera angles. At least Fox uses his device unlike somebody else we know, says Eric Graham. Yes. I normally buy 2 copies each week, so I have a full set to make and paint, and the other for my collection, says David. Cool. If you're buying them from the store, though, rather than actually subscribing, you won't get any of the subscriber benefits, but you might be fine with that. They're not brilliant. This little nub. I'm having trouble with nubs today. This plastic, as we've said before, the plastic on these is not Games Workshop plastic. These aren't made. They are Games Workshop sprues, but these aren't actually made in Nottingham. That goes on. How does that go on? That goes on like that, you see. So don't glue this on if I want the missiles. I don't know if I want the missiles, but I do want the choice, obviously. How does that then? That goes on here like this, you see. I've not trimmed the nubs off this yet. Let's just randomly place it and see if I can figure out how it goes together. I probably can't because I'm inept. Hashtag like and subscribe, Team Inept. How does it even go together? What am I even doing now? Nonsense. Thy Creator is in. Hey Fox, hey Dad. Welcome, Thy Creator. That would sit on... I should probably even just pay attention to what the hell I'm doing, shouldn't I, really, rather than just... Oh, I see, so you can do an open or a closed one, I think. Okay. How does this even... Am I just being completely cat-candid? Paul is in. Paul at Team Inept. My name hath been taken in vain, he says. Right, am I being... I'm just going to get the nubs trimmed off this. Let's just get this bit done first. I hate difficult builds when I'm doing live stream because you look like a spoon. If something challenges you and you're like, I can't do it. Whereas normally you just slap something together quite nicely and you can fiddle around with it. When you're on a stream, you can't really do that. The Essence of the Speeder. David Sanderson. That's why I never buy premium, because they really do rip you off. Well, the thing is, if you're playing the game, I mean, at the end of the day, the whole part work is a massive saving. The whole of this part work, whether you're premium or not. If you just do a regular subscription, even, you're still getting, and these are random figures pulled out my backside, but you're still getting about 1,100 quid worth of stuff for about 800 quid. So you're still making a massive saving just on the regular subscription. If you throw in the premium subscription on top, if I remember rightly, you're still spending a lot less than you would actually cost if you bought all the stuff standalone, without, as in you went to the Games Workshop store and bought all the kits and the mats and stuff like that, if they're available. You'd still pay a lot less. So if you're into the game, you might quite like all the extra data cards and stuff, and so you're still saving money than if you actually went and bought them. And let's not forget there is some good premium stuff with this. Like we've got the Silver Templars thing, which came out over the last couple of months. So we got, you know, an early release of the Silver Templar. It was basically the same. It's not an early release of the sprues, but we got a load of Space Marines and a How to Paint Silver Templars book, and the early release of a decal sheet. Knob looking. So we got a little decal sheet there, which isn't available yet. So we did get that benefit, and you know, it's not that bad. I just think that the Mortal Realms one is a bit more bang for your buck than this one. This one's still good. I think you're still saving money even on a premium sub, I think. It's not the difficult builds that make you look like a spoon, says Paul at Team Adept. Banned. I don't need help to look stupid. Right, where's my brush? Where's my dusty brush? 2 nubs on the bottom of the door, sit in the recesses of the hull. I kind of figured that. That's confirmed what I was thinking. Thank you. So that sits there. There we go. There you go. Perfect. I wasn't actually thinking that, but I was kind of wondering that. That sits. I see. That goes under there. All right. Okay. He's making sense now. That was a very helpful tip there, because that unlocked everything almost. So that goes in there. That would sit in there like that. You see? That would go there. We'd have the wonderful door of happiness here, which I've obviously not put in yet. That would sit in there. If I was to attach it first, that goes in there. Okay, then you would see all this engine shenanigans in here. Okay. Interesting. So then I would need to not glue the top on, but I could potentially... This is all just me planning which bits I can glue together in advance, so I'm not trying to assemble it when it's all been painted. Text message. Check your postal deliveries live on the internet. What? Been told to check you... What? I've been told to tell you to check your postal deliveries live on the internet. I don't know what you mean, Dad. I don't know what that means. Check my... I don't know what you mean. I don't know how... Are you talking about the subscription? I don't know. What do you mean? Right, so that goes on there. So you'd have the other one as well. If I was to paint the interior area, I could access all of this. Even if I put this wall on as well, I can access that back wall. Hello, Dad. What are you doing? Not me, just been told. Been told to tell you to check your postal deliveries live on the internet. It's a Sunday. I'm not going to get any postal deliveries. What? I'm completely lost. I don't know what you mean, Dad. I don't know what you mean. No idea. Right. So, yes, I think let's just get these cleaned up. Hello, Mama Fox. Wow, that's... Hello. I've not even glued this, and it's... Wow, that's tough. There we go. So we've got a door here. I want to be a door. I really thought that was the lyric to the Stone Roses song. I want to be a door, as in a portal, an entrance to a room. Fun fact. If you happen to have... And I'm sure Quano Man has this in his house somewhere. If you happen to have the Stone Roses album of the Stone Roses, my dad's on the label, on the inside cover. Upper Fox, God rest him, is on the in some of the photographs on the inside. Because they took loads of photographs when they were performing on Granada TV at some point, and he was the cameraman in the background. That's my dad, that was. Andy McLeish says, almost time to head home. Ooh. My dad is also on Wikipedia. Yes. How's that for something to be proud of? Only briefly, but he's there. Right, so that's that door cleaned up, I think. I want to be a door. Just been watching a music YouTube channel called Pomplamoose. The main guy helped create Patreon before it went mega. Pomplamoose, isn't that a grapefruit or something? I know pamplemousse. Pamplemousse is that in French? Is grapefruit in French, I think, if I remember rightly. Power Burke and Squeeze Mo, says Andy McLeish. Yes. These are the correct names. I don't know why I went into the Khajiit voice there. I really need to work on my Khajiit voice though, I really do. It's the kind of thing, I don't know, it's weird. It's hard to do the voice when you're not actually playing the game. Right, let's get the other wall. Okay, now we do have a choice here of these doors. We have a choice of the doors, you see. We have the open door, or we have the door with the window, or the closed door. So I'm going to do. I see. Oh, I get it. So I don't get it. We'll figure it out. I'm trying to see where the missile racks attach to the sides of the doors, and I'm going to assume. I shouldn't assume. I'm going to assume you need these doors with the holes in then, because there's nothing for them to attach on here. So if somebody can correct me, if I have the closed door, I assume I can't have the closed door. But if I've got the door with the hole in it and this little recess there, I assume this is the one for the missile rack. So if I want the missile rack, I'm going to have to use these two doors. Is that what it's telling me? I think it is. Oh, I think it is. You can choose the undermounted, side-mounted Typhoon missile launcher or an underslung heavy flamer or assault cannon. The land speeder can only be given one of these three weapons in games. Yes, I think... Yes, put the support for the missile rack through the door. There we go. So yes, I can't use these solid doors. In that case, yes, we'll just put that to one side. We no longer require your services door that I've just spent ages cleaning. Right. Excellent, excellent. Let's get this other pieces cut off. Have you received any deliveries today, says Team Inept. Guessing that's what Dad means. What they're trying to say is ask Mama Fox for your package. What? There's nothing come through the... I'll go and have a look. You've got me... Let me... I'm going to go and check. I'm going to check. Give me 1 second. I'll put you in the back soon minute. Hang on. Okay, there are two packages in the front door that I have no idea about. Now I'm going to have to... I can't show you... I've got to take the label off the front with my address on it, so give me a second. I'll have to open them off camera. Is that why Mama Fox shouted up to him? No, Mama Fox was just going past, so I said hello. Right, I'm not going to show you the packet, but I don't want to show you my address, so... Well, the label just came off. There we go. Okay, that's fine. What's been going on? So I've got a package, and I've got... This had better not be a pack of glitter, Paul. I tell you, if it's a pack of glitter, I'll kill you. Right. Power Burke and Squeezemo. They're both from Amazon. I've just realised, hang on. These were both in my porch. I didn't unlock the porch. Mama Fox?
Yeah.
When you went downstairs, did you unlock the porch? Okay, how did the guy even get these in the porch? That's weird. No. How very strange. Somehow the Amazon delivery guy got these in my porch, even though the porch was completely locked. Right, anyway, let's get one of these open. Get both of them open. So the first one, I'm not gonna open it. First one is what? First one is Paul. Lots of lovely carrots with a free hair inside. Ooh. Kajita's carrots if you have coin. If you don't know what this is, yesterday when I did my Skyrim stream, I started off with like picking up all the stuff in the palace, and I spent half an hour collecting stuff. And there's a joke now that I'm just collecting all the carrots. Kajita's carrots, and we'll get no coin for these. So now I have a collection of carrots. Thank you very much, Paul. Paul says, why are you saying my name? Oh, the other isn't addressed to you. Is it not? Is the other one from Mama Fox? Okay, I just pulled the label off. I assume they're both for me. Good job I opened this one first then. I'm ignoring the gift note. There's no gift. What? Hang on. There's a gift note. Well, they kind of scrumpled it all up. He says, Kajita's carrots if you have coin from Risad. Oh, Paul, what are you like? Or Chris, or whoever sent that. Awesome, thank you very much. Is this other package from Mama Fox then? I can't open that one then, I guess. In that case, I shall put that to one side and I'll have to give that to Mama Fox later. But thank you very much for my carrots. Right, let's get this cut off the little things. Yes, it's for the matriarch of Clan Fox, he says. Thank you very much. I shall pass that to Mama Fox shortly then. Let me get these carrots off. What are you guys like? Seriously, what are you guys like? I don't know. See, just because you can't push me off a ledge. Because I play Skyrim and you can't... Paul likes to push me off ledges in Destiny, you see, so he can't do that when I'm playing Skyrim. Because he's not there. The way the label said Mama Fox, the label was kind of scruffed over and I didn't even see that. So I have to apologise. I hadn't even seen the address label on the front of that one. I was too busy trying to get it off the package. It was a good job I opened this one first, isn't it? Because that could have been embarrassing. Join me for my live stream where I delabel fluffy carrots. Yes. If you didn't watch the Skyrim stream yesterday, come and watch it again next week. It's just silly fun. I did make a cow fly through the air, which was quite an achievement, I think. Let's get rid of these bits of card. I don't even know how you'd find. I got a free hair and everything. I assume it's a hair. I don't know. I don't really want to think about it more than that. Right, let's get that space done. There we go. I now must give some coin to Risad. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You give me 7. It's not a number. I have to eat one now. Nom. Thank you very much for my carrots. Those carrots need a basket. I shall have to get a little basket. Have I got a container of some sort? Haven't got a container of some sort. I've got my cotton bud lid. There you go. It can sit in my cotton bud lid. Thank you very much for my carrots. Crazy fools. This is the joy of Amazon. You can send people stuff like next day as jokes. And we have done this. This has been done before. Thank you very much. Well, there goes the building part of the show, says Eric Graham. That was all a bit chaotic, that wasn't it? Like Dad saying, go and check your mail. What? Have you ever considered an letterbox? Well, it's Sunday. I don't expect stuff to turn up on a Sunday. I don't even unlock the porch. Which is why I'm quite impressed that they managed to get them in the... They didn't knock. They didn't ring the bell. Weird. Anyway, let's have a quick look. Glorious Athol, says Dad. Oh, the weather, I see, yeah. You look, I didn't send you 17 bowls, 8 leather braces, and a goat hide too, says Paul. I could have done with some leather bracers. The cow was great, says Edward. Guthorm is hungry for carrots. Oh, yeah. Let's give Guthorm a carrot. There you go, Guthorm. He can have his own little carrot to nom on. Because he reads the chat, you see. He monitors the chat for me. That's what Guthorm does. He sits there and monitors the chat. We'll give him a carrot. David Sanderson says, Pube! Khajiit Pube obs. Thank you very much. Khajiit is most gratified by your gift. I will allow you to pay for it later. You guys are crazy. These Romans are crazy. Right, so I need to cut these doors off, don't I? I don't know. makes me dread to think now what you're going to be sending to Mama Fox. That could give me some concern. Yes. What have you sent to my mum? Right, so we'll get those doors off. Get this side piece. Ooh, side piece. You guys are the best. I have told you before that you guys are just the best. This is why I love people that, you know, watch my stuff and hang out with me. Because we're all just nutters. We're all just crazy fools. Got to clean these up now. It'll need good eyesight for chat monitoring, so carrot is a good food source. Right, where's me space helmet? There it is. We sent Mama Fox 2 dwarven maces and some elven armour. Oh, I want no cheese wheels. Not even an Idar cheese wheel. I don't know. Well, she's certainly not expecting anything, so I shall let you know her response. She won't open it on camera. She doesn't want to come on camera, Mama Fox. She doesn't like doing that, so sadly I shall just have to report back to you in the boom hut. Happy days. Best gifts ever. Stuffed carrots. Thank you very much. Yes, if you didn't watch it, it's a new series I've started on Saturdays. Skyrim Saturdays. I'm just doing a playthrough basically, and I have a particular way that I play. I go slow, and I do archery and sneak, and I sneak everywhere, and I go slowly. I don't just run in and hit things like Paul might do. It's probably quite frustrating to watch, but it's the way I play, and I'm going to be sat there playing anyway, so I figure I may as well hang out with you guys while I do it. There you go. I will be going to Riften. At the minute, I'm in the middle of Bleak Falls Barrow, still at the start of the game. Because my Khajiit Jar Jar Blurp, his name, is only low level. So we're getting the first few bits done so I can get Lydia as a sidekick. And then I'm going to head off to Riften because I need to go and meet a very special friend in Riften. Will Mama Fox cook them? There's David Sanderson. Oh dear. No, I do all the cooking in this house. Nim says, I have officially minus a top coat one of the 3 entries for my local scale model contest. I have a month for the other 2. Cool. Get them done, get them entered, and good luck. I'm sure you will whoop their asses. Speedy Q8's in. Hey, Spid. I've been having a case of guests recently, so having to be sociable meant I had to be unsociable. You know what I mean, I hope. Yes. To quote Oliver Hardy, explain that to me again. I watched Stan, was it called Stan and Ollie, the movie from a few years ago that came out a couple of years ago with Steve Coogan and some American guy, I don't know who he was. And it was actually quite good. I thought Steve Coogan did a really good Stan Laurel, and the other guy actually did quite a good Oliver Hardy. Unfortunately, it had that annoying English actress that played Ollie's wife that I didn't like at all. Can't stand that woman. Or at least I can't stand the character she plays. Excuse me. Excuse me. Foxy, hang about. What are you doing building a land speeder when you should be building Nurgle stuff? It's both armies. Issue 47 is the land speeder. I finished the issue 46 was the what was it? The fetid bloat drone, the 4 dudes and the other dude. Finished them. So the next issue, issue 47, is the land speeder. Conquest is both. You get the Space Marine army and the Death Guard army. So it goes backwards and forwards. It does unfortunately mean at some point I've got to build a whole mess of Space Marine motorbikes. God damn it. I'm not happy about that. Oh, itchy nose. The American who played Ollie was John C. Reilly. He's been in a lot of Will Ferrell movies. Yeah, I kind of recognised him, but I couldn't place his name. He did very well, actually. I think they both did. I mean, Steve Coogan, I tend not to like Steve Coogan very much. Again, purely because of the things he does, not him as a person, but, you know, I've never really liked his stuff. But he did very good Stan Laurel. And when they were on there's a bit where they're on the stage, and there's recreating on stage in the film. They're recreating the hospital scene where Ollie's in bed, all like wrapped up with the ropes, and Stan comes in with the ball. He's like, I brought you some boiled eggs, and I thought they pulled that off marvelously. Steve Coogan doing Stan Laurel doing the peeling the hard-boiled egg he got the movements and the fidgets and stuff just right. That was some good impressionings there. He would actually make a good itchy nose. He would actually make a good Stan Laurel. You don't like Alan Partridge, says David Sanson. I can't stand it. I've not liked anything that Steve Coogan's ever done. I've just found them all grating and annoying. I did nothing against him. I need to blow my nose. I've got the dribbly nose now. Hang on. Sniffle. Apologies. Hello, body fluids. Woohoo! Hello. Somebody turned that tap on. Blimey. Sniffle. There we go. Hello. Sorry, folks. I'm having a bit of a leaky face moment. There we go. Nice and shiny. That's much better. Don't know what happened there. Team Inept says, I smacked a Draugr Overlord to bits before he even swung his axe earlier because I am a badass. Yes, but did you have fun? Yeah, of course you had fun. What we're asking. I'm not like that. I have fun sneaking and see. This is the reason I play Skyrim differently. I was talking about this yesterday in a chat. I don't love Skyrim for the game per se. I don't love because I'm not playing it. It's hard to explain. I like things like Skyrim and Fallout 4, not so much for the game, although the game is fun. There are much better games out there, but I like it for the. It's hard to explain, for the feeling, for the vibe, for the lighting and the atmosphere. Like I'm happy wandering through a ruin in Skyrim, even if there's no bad guys, because I'm sneaking around, I'm absorbing the colours and the light and the way it's shadows and the ambient noise. It just makes it a kind of believable world, like I'm actually in something. And if I could do VR, I'd do Skyrim VR in a shot, because it'd be completely like intense. But yeah, so I actually enjoy the slow pace of creeping around and arrowism, taking out dudes from a distance with an arrow. I love that because it allows me to completely, not quite role play, but not quite LARPing, but it really does transport me to a place so that I'm not just playing a game like Elder Scrolls Online. I tried Elder Scrolls Online. It was fine, but it didn't. I enjoyed what I played, but it wasn't the best for me because it was just a game. I was just moving this character around and doing things on the screen. Whereas things like Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and Skyrim, I get so invested in, walking around in the first-person view and seeing everything and the lighting and the sounds and the ambience that I forget I'm looking at a telly screen. I forget I'm in a room, and I really start to become that character and it's weird. It's really absorbing for me. It really sucks me in. So I'll always, even if things like Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6, when they come out, even if they're absolute garbage and all the fans hate them, I still get them. I'll still play them because, I love that. And games that give me that are absolutely treasure to me. I'm kind of weird with games. I don't like games that are games, if you know what I mean. It kind of makes no sense. I'll shut up anyway, because none of that makes any sense. Right, so. Yesterday, says Spade has been recovering and getting my house back to a recognisable mess. But my espresso machine has the thorough testing. Excellent. Right, these doors that go on the side then. If I'm using the ones with the holes. Now, with holes. Then I'm assuming, and I know I shouldn't assume because it makes an ass of you and me, old joke. I'm assuming that I can glue them in place. But that I just need to make sure I use this specific door if I want the missile rack. So I had no problem gluing that. Well, I can just leave it not glued, I suppose. So I'm guessing then that I could theoretically... I've forgotten how this goes together. Hello. Well, we did it earlier on. Oh, manual dexterity failure. Right, that goes in there. There we go. No, we don't. Come on, we did this before, lads. So I'm assuming I could glue that in place with that door. Am I right? So as long as I've got that door on, I want the missile rack. As long as I have this door on, I can glue it in place. Or I could just leave it not glued in place. There's that option, because it kind of does stay in place. It's not going to come off once it's got a coat of paint on it. Well, no, I suppose I could glue it in place. So tell me then, chat. Can I glue these doors in now? Can I glue these side panels on with the doors? If I'm doing the missile rack later, can I glue them straight on now and not worry about it? Or will I be making problems for myself? Tell me in the chat. I will follow your bidding. Khajiit will do whatever you direct him to do. I'm sworn to carry your burdens. Shut up, Lydia. Take it. Yes, you can from memory, says David Sanderson. I'll go back to chat in a minute because you're all talking about what I was saying about getting rid. It's almost like, because I can't do virtual reality because I've got funky eyes that don't work properly. So virtual reality for me, it's just like having a screen closer to my face. It's not actual, virtual reality. So VR for me just has no effect whatsoever. So I sadly can't experience that immersion level, but I've tried it, trust me. Yes, you can remember, don't quote me on it. Okay, so that's because I don't really want to have to glue these side walls on later because that's going to get messy and will mess my paint up. I'd really rather glue these on now. Big nub on there I need to clean up. Really rather glue them on now and not worry about it. But I think I could technically just leave them. I don't know. Who was it? Who was telling me how to do? Was it more? Was it more Draka? Give me or was it Beyond Hope? Where have you gone? You've disappeared on me when I need you. Here. Clean that door because that door's horrible. Gap on it. Big nub on it, I mean. But once you get that in, it's really in. Tomcat181, hello from Ohio. Found you from weathering your Sinanju Stein, and now I'm looking at doing a 40k plus Gundam stuff. Yeah, I have that effect. Sorry about that. Welcome. Hello. Welcome to Warhammer Sunday. Yes, I'll check chat in a moment when we're looking at what I was saying about the games. I've yet to do the Lord of Contagion from Conquest, rather get the Mark III Armour Space Marines for the helmet. I have to agree, certainly with Partridge, not funny at all, cringeworthy and unfunny. Yeah, I've never found the stuff he's done funny. They are kind of cringeworthy. Kind of very 1990s style of humour that doesn't really work for me anymore. Stuff a carrot up your nose. Push pine. No, there's a dribbly nose, but have you had the test? Yeah, you don't get that with the coronavirus. Fever, breathing difficulties, death. You get. Welcome to the Madhouse, Tomcat. Welcome, Tomcat says Dad. The ambience, says David Sanderson, is aesthetically pleasing. He is absorbing the carrot. Role-playing with a carrot. I know all about gaming. I was good at asteroids, says Spid. It's a good milestone. I like to sneak and snipe, says Osric. Exactly my playstyle. But when you see, I'll sneak round and I'll poke my head round doors, like with my bow knocked, my arrow knocked, ready, like like a SWAT team member will stick his head round with his weapon loaded and ready. I've never really had that happen when I was saying about getting absorbed, but the closest I got was Torchlight. Well, other than D&D, but that's because it's D&D, says Nim. He dropped his carrot again. Don't drop your carrot. Oh, hang on. For missile racks, don't glue those doors on, but you can glue the panel on. Yes, you can glue those doors in, says Mordraka. I cut the pins off and just glue the door in place. There is also that, of course, as well. Yes. Ray is in from Malta. Welcome, Ray. Okay, so yeah, so it looks like we can glue those on, and if we want to, we can just snip the pins and glue the door over the top. That's fine, because I don't care about the pins, because once it's got the missiles on it, you're never going to open the door again anyway. That we can do. It does mean that if I put the missiles on, sadly, it does mean I'm not going to be able to paint the interior bit. Because you're never going to see it. There's no point painting that engine bay. Or the turbine area. If you're not going to see it. Wow, it's fiddly, isn't it? Wow, 20-year-old GW designs have some mileage they need to work on. Have some imitations here. Wow. GW have come a long way in the last few years. Right. That goes there. And when we put the door on, yeah, we could just cut the pins off and glue it on. That'd be fine. That will be fine. Just to be safe, I'll keep them off then. So we can glue that together. We can put this bit in here. It does seem a shame not to paint that interior bit, but then I'm going to guess that George will like the nice looking missiles rather than, because you remember this whole project. This get my words out. Coffee time. Hang on. Oh no. This whole Conquest project is with the support of my very good friend and your current stream boss, George. And once everything's built and painted, we're actually splitting it. David says, I've got to go now, unfortunately. Bye. Well, thanks for coming in, David. I appreciate it. See you again next time. See you soon. Yes, we'll be splitting it half and half. So George will actually get all the Space Marine stuff. And I will keep all the Death Guard stuff. Woohoo! So I'm gonna assume that, like me, George would rather have the kick-ass missile that looks awesome than anything else. I've made that decision. Decision has been made. Wow, this is not in any way frustrating. I can see myself breaking that door when I get to building this model, says Joshy. Welcome, Joshy. I've dropped that twice now. Welcome, Joshy. Hello, hello. Right. You, on there, take this out. Oh, let's not take that out. You go there like that, you see. There, you see. Lovely. And then you ping out again. That's brilliant. If you could just do that, that'd be great. Thanks. Oh, this is not in any way frustrating. Yeah. Why I order? Right. What is going on with this part now? This is in no way frustrating for you to watch. I can imagine. There we go. Right. No, we don't. You go there. Blimey, Riley. That goes on here like that. That goes on here like, if I can get it in now without breaking everything. Come on, don't fall apart. I'm not going to go through all that nonsense again. Wow. 20 years ago, Games Workshop sucked. Right, just going to have to take this off, aren't we, again? Because I can't get it on now. Waiting for Fox to break something, says Eric Graham. Yes, it's entirely likely. Right, that worked a bit better. Let's get that on there. That can sit like that. That's not in place at all. Will be shortly. I need more than one pair of hands, really. Oh, you... Oh. Why I order? Right, that's on there. How frustrating is this? Why doesn't Fox use the assembly instructions? They show how to build it. They don't. They literally don't. They literally show this bit, and this bit. They all go on that bit. That's literally. They don't give you any specifics. They're old instructions. So, and they don't tell you how to build it with an eye to how you're going to paint it. I'm trying to keep in mind the painting order. I'm not just going to go ahead and build it because I don't want to glue two bits together and then suddenly realise I can't get a brush in between them to paint what's supposed to be inside. So it's playing it safe time. Right, that went on better this time. Almost. Almost. I would say potentially the fit of these is not the best in the world. I mean, they fit together when you get them together, but it's getting them together in the first place that's the hard bit. It needs to go behind there. Oh, there we go. goes in there. Okay, so Fox is making me feel more confident about my own building skills. I've always said it in the past, but I'm not a builder, I'm a painter. So I actually hate the building part of the process. I can't be doing a building. Building bores me. Insert the back of the turbine assembly from the cockpit access. Yeah, I've done it now. So that'll go on top. Like that, you see. So theoretically, I'm going to glue the doors on anyway. I'm not going to have to... Sorry, folks, I built 3 of these for the mag and didn't have any of your problems with it. I suck at building. I hate building. I do not enjoy building at all. That's the whole point. This is why I prefer... I'm not that happy doing building on a live stream. I don't mind doing figures, but stuff like this on a live stream, I hate it because you show how fumbly I am. I hate building. But yes, the instructions aren't that specific. Yeah, if I'm going to have the missile racks on the side, and therefore these doors are going to be glued on, there's no point at all in me even thinking about painting inside there. So theoretically, if I was to paint this, I can sort of access everything, but I think what I'd rather do is keep the top off for now. What I'll probably do is most likely paint the interior here, get that good old primed, paint the interior, then mask that off, glue the top of the fuselage on like that, and then with this interior bit being masked off, paint the rest of it. If I do any airbrush work. If I'm not doing airbrush work, I don't have to worry about that. The reason I don't want to paint the exterior and then glue it together is I'm going to have like joins here that I'll need to either fill with a bit of sprue glue, or they'll have some glue splooging out. I don't want that when it's painted, so I don't want, like there, I'll have to do something with that. So I don't necessarily want to be gluing this together when it's all fully painted, so I'll probably get the interior done while the top is off. Also, I need to coordinate the guy holding the gun on the dashboard as well, which is kind of fiddly. I thought it was supposed to be a Warhammer Sunday, not another free chat room. Don't know what you mean. It's just me doing some Warhammer and you guys hanging out while I do it, keeping each other company. Right, let's get this glued together. Alright, so all about just having fun. I can get to most of that while that's all built, so that's fine. I can get access to all that to paint it. Not a problem. I get access to those controls there. I'm not going to glue the guys together. So let's get these bits all touching. I'm using the extra thin because I don't need to have any load bearing or weight supported at this point. I can just go in and straight with the extra thin and get that in the recesses. Can be a little bit careless on the inside because you're not going to see in there anyway. Thumbprint is doing it again. Hang on. Thumbprint in the glue. I shall show you how to fix that. It's not a problem. So let's touch it to this edge here. Yeah, because it's thin as water, you can just you're not having to run it around everywhere. You can just touch it to edges, and it will capillary reaction into the recess. Anything where it does splooge out, that's fine. You can fix that later. We'll just oops. Going on, a little bit of glue action, hardcore glue action. In here, I can be more careless because you're never going to see it. Just more about getting things fixed in place. Don't care what it looks like right now. As long as it's all stuck in place, that's all I care about. Bit of touch of glue in there. Now, even on such an early kit, I've got to give them props at GW. They did manage to hide a lot of the gaps in what would be panel lines. There we go. That's on there. That can go in place there. I've got a thumbprint there, but we'll fix that in a bit. I'll show you how. I just have the bog standard plastic glue. Does that matter at all, Fox? You mean like this stuff? like that kind of stuff, or the Citadel, the GW stuff, or whatever, Revell Contactor. It doesn't really matter. It's just you will find things like Tamiya Extra Thin much easier for doing a clean glue job, because I've just done that now. And it's a lot neater and tidier. You can go really to town with it inside there, that's not a problem. But if you've got stuff that's like the Tamiya regular glue, which is like that, that's basically what is in the Citadel or Games Workshop glue or your Revell Contactor. It's stuff like that. So there we go. It's just a bit easier, basically. Oops, let's get some glue down there. A little bit of glue down there. Force it. There we go. Oh, I didn't run in down this bit here. Just run some down there. There we go. Done. Right. That's them on. That's glued in place. I can get access to all of that to paint it. I'll put that glue back in there before Dad tells me off. Yeah. What are we doing in chat? Doodle-doo, doodle-doo. Slap it on, says Mordraka. I guess you can call it educational because you can learn what not to do if Fox messes it up. Lol. This stream is pretty much Fox trying to get something done while we roast him in the chat. Yeah, pretty much. Tomcat says, Tomcat says, I guess you could call it educational because when Fox messes it up. And Beyond Hope says, Tomcat, you've been here an hour and you understand the stream perfectly. Even his devoted mods stick the proverbial boot in now and then. Ba-doo-doo. Let's have a look. David says, sorry folks, got it wrong. Bye. Oh, you don't have to leave, dude. It might not be what you thought it was, but you're still more than welcome to hang around. Folks hanging out, having a good time. Feel free to stick around if you're still watching. Everybody's welcome. Everything's for sale. Everything's for sale. And I don't get stuff through the door every week. I have the Citadel plastic glue, but thanks for pointing that out. This stuff is basically like that. But it's a bit handier because it's got this big, thin, pointy thing. So if you had the place where these kind of glues are really handy is if you have, say, for example, how to explain it now. Let's say if I had two flat things I wanted to stick together, then I could do that with the extra thin. But the extra thin evaporates quite quickly. So what you can do is use that or this. You would blob it on and then put it on, do a bit of that, and it would stick. And because it's kind of sticky, it would hold in place. If I took my hand off, it would stay in place. If I use this stuff, it would probably fall off for a few seconds. It wouldn't stick very well because it takes a little while for the extra thin to start to weld the plastic together. However, it would give you a stronger bond than this or this. So this stuff is good if you've got, like, if you're gluing on an arm or a leg, or you've got two big flat things you need to glue together. Let's say I want to glue, two of those together. You might put a little line of the regular glue there and squish them. And then once it's set for a little bit and you can take your hand off, you could run some extra thin through it if you wanted to. Extra thin is just like a welding cement. So yeah, you can use this. It's just when you get to really small fiddly stuff, you have to be a bit more careful because this will make a big blob of glue, whereas the green stuff, the extra thin, is like water. There are other versions of it. There is an Ammo by MIG version of that glue, which I can't remember what it's called, but it's the same kind of thing. It's basically very thin cement. If you can't get that on Amazon or anywhere like that, you will find Plastic Magic, which is another kind of extra. It's actually thinner than the extra thin. And it will work on more. This was basically for polystyrene. It will only work on polystyrene plastic, so you can't use it on ABS or anything like that. This will work on any plastic, pretty much. So if you're a Gumpler builder, for example, if you build Bandai kits, this comes in handy because this will glue ABS and other things together. If you're making a D'Agostini Millennium Falcon or the D'Agostini X-Wing, you need to use this because it's ABS. You can't use that. But this is more readily. But this is available on my. In fact, all of these are available on my Amazon store. There is a link in the description below the video for my Amazon store. If you're in the US or the UK, go and check them out. You can support me because it's my little Amazon store, so it helps support me. It doesn't cost you any extra, but it also means you can get the stuff you need. All the stuff that's in my Amazon stores is stuff I have used. Jamie's going. Got to go. I should be in Chris's stream later. I'm assuming he's going to go and watch the cricket or the rugby or some such. Stabbertiet says Skullfish. Skullfish is in the shop. Hey, Skullfish. No Stabberty. Athelman Nichols says, rather disturbingly, the project for this afternoon is cutting up a mother-in-law which has overgrown the pot and now have 4 single plants. I don't even want to go anywhere with that one. Take my mother-in-law, please. Yeah, old joke. Mother-in-law. I've got to cut my mother-in-law up. Yes. I'm sure there's a lot of people that would sympathise with that. Let's have a look. Still waiting for my plastic magic to arrive. I've ordered it through a local hobby shop, says Paul Di Tommaso. There you go. It's very good stuff. If you can't get extra thin, which sometimes can be a bit hard to get if, you know, shipments from Japan have been delayed. If you can't get any extra thin, it is a fantastic alternative. It takes a little longer to cure. So if you do use plastic magic, it doesn't cure quite as fast as Tamiya extra thin. And it stinks a lot more. But by the same token, it will stick more than just polystyrene. So if you are building a Bandai kit like Gunpla or anything like that, and you want to, like my Cesabe, I've glued the inner frame into a fixed pose. I had to use plastic magic because there's no polystyrene in ABS, so it wouldn't set with the Tamiya stuff. Right, I need to add bits on now. So put that to one side. I know. Oh, where are we? Beyond Hope says something. I was referring to an overgrown plant, not an actual mother-in-law. Ooh, I'll get high from using it every time, says Paul Di Tommaso. No, it's more of a nasty smell. You want to put the lid back on that thing. Toot sweet. It does have a smaller brush than the extra thin as well, which is quite nice. And it comes with, you get the brush on the lid, and it also comes with another adapter with an even smaller brush on it. So I think you get that by default. I got one anyway. Right, let's crack on. So we need to add some plant-on details, as they like to call them. We've got the engine area. Now I can put the engine area on the back because, again, we're not going to be worrying about that. It'll be perfectly accessible to paint. So where's my nippers? Hey Lee, Lee Eagles in. Welcome, Lee. Yeah, so that plastic magic stuff, it's kind of handy, especially say if you're doing Bandai kits as well. You want to glue stuff, because obviously Bandai kits they're not, you know, they are polystyrene, so you can use your extra thin, but there are some parts of, especially Gunpla, where it's ABS, and your Tamiya cement's not going to work on that because they're for polystyrene. And one thing that's not in ABS most of the time is polystyrene. You might get some, it's not much. Nubtacular. Joshy says, when I was building my gunstock gun hauler, a thin narrow support beam snapped and I did find the Citadel plastic rather fiddly to fix. I was able to, but it was a test of patience. Yeah, it's I do find this Tamiya extra thin very, very handy for gluing things that have snapped together back together, because it is a welding cement. It does literally weld the two pieces together into one. So if I glue that to that, that's two pieces of plastic. If I glue it together with extra thin, it's now one single piece of plastic because that has been welded in. If I glue it with something else like a regular cement, it's glued, but it's still two separate pieces with glue in the middle, basically, to a certain degree. But yeah, it's really handy. The plastic magic stuff, because it takes longer to cure, isn't so handy for it's like if you snap a whip antenna on a vehicle, you've got a whip antenna and you snap it, or a really thin, like say you've got you're building a tank and you've got a shovel on the side of the tank and you snap the handle off. You've got that little thin stick and you've got to, the extra thin works quite well for that. You have to support it, but it does quite well. Athel says, before Foxy asks, we've already asked it earlier on, but yes, he says, what's going on our bellies? I'm intending having haggis and cheeseburgers for dinner. I need all of that in my face because I like haggis and I like cheeseburgers. And you know what? I had a certain plan for dinner, but now I really want cheeseburgers. It may have to be a McDonald's filth time tonight, just for laziness. Fox, are you going to play the game or paint it all up for today? Asks Tomcat. Illuminator Arts and Crafts is in. How are we all doing here today? Also, what are you building, Foxy Boy? I'm building the Space Marine, the very old Space Marine Land Speeder from the Warhammer Conquest Partwork, issue 47, the Land Speeder, which is not copyright infringing because it's a speeder discovered by a guy called Land. You see how they got around that there? You see how they got around it? Anyway, yes. Are you going to play the game or just paint it all up for display? Asks Tomcat. I continually, when I first started doing Warhammer, I was just attracted to the models. I'd never built a Warhammer kit. Well, I tell a lie. I had built a single squat when I was like 10, because my local Warhammer store, in the days of metal figures, the Metal Citadel miniatures, I just went and bought a figure, and it was, as I remember looking at it now, it was basically a squat with a German army helmet and biker gear, biker jacket and stuff. No idea what it was, and I painted it up, and then I was about 10 at the time, and that was it. I didn't know anything about it, and then I forgot all about Games Workshop completely, forever. And I was building me Gunpla, and I was all this kind of stuff, and then I can't remember how I came across it, but I happened across the Warhammer TV painting videos. I don't know what, I was obviously looking for something. Maybe I wanted to do a brush paint. I don't know what it was. I can't remember anyway. It was a few years ago. I just happened across one of Duncan's videos, and I'm like, oh, hello. This chap is very entertaining to watch. He's quite relaxing. I could sit and watch this all day, and I did. So at first I was watching it just purely because I was fascinated watching Duncan do his thing, because I'd never seen a painting video like that. Most painting videos, mine are just as bad, are just somebody with a really bad camera doing really wobbly camera shots, or just talking rubbishly, or like saying, no, I'm going to paint this, I've painted it, there you go, lovely, and they don't tell you anything. So I'd never, save for one or two, I'd never really found good painting tutorial videos, which is one of the reasons I started doing this. But I'm not that good, so I can't say I've broken that mold. But I suddenly found that Duncan's tutorials were like, oh, this is quite entertaining to watch. And also, I'd never really done brush painting at that point, because I'd had bad experiences brush painting, because I've been trying to paint with Tamiya paints, which is the dumbest thing ever, trying to brush paint. So I didn't know. So I found it mesmerising to watch, because he's like the Bob Ross of the miniature painting. So I found it mesmerising to watch at the time. But also, I was watching it, I'm thinking, I've been doing brush. It made me realise that the reason I sucked at brush painting anything over the years was because I was doing it completely wrong. I hadn't really understood what I was doing. I hadn't understood about the types of paints and things like that. So it started to give me a bit of an inkling as to why I was so bad at doing it. So that's when I went, to my local store, and I got my first Warhammer kit, and I got some paints, Citadel paints and stuff. And I started to try out, like, just copying what Duncan was doing, like, maybe I can do brush painting. And it totally hooked me in. It totally dragged me in. I was totally smitten with it. I need a more delicate polishing stick. And I had such a good time building that Warhammer kit that I then went and got another one and another one. Because when I got back into this hobby a few years ago, I left the hobby all those years ago building Tamiya tanks and things like that. When I got back into the hobby, it was to return to building things like, that's got a big nub on it, to return back to building things like Tamiya kits and tanks and stuff, which I didn't really have that much of an interest in, but it's what I knew. Then I discovered Gunpla. And keep in mind, like I said before, I'm not a builder, I'm a painter, and I don't really enjoy the building process. Gunpla was a revelation for me, because it's like, wait, it takes all the complicated stuff out of building so I can just have fun and then paint it. But then Warhammer came along, and I realised that the building part was actually so much fun. I really enjoyed it. So I got more and I got more, and I got into it. And at first it was just about making the models. But just by the process of osmosis, sitting there watching videos on various channels about painting Warhammer stuff and painting miniatures and brush painting techniques. That was terrible. Horrible sanding stick. It's just messed up my surface. Thanks, sanding stick. What was my train of thought there? Yeah, just by osmosis, of course, it exposed me to the gameplay side of it as well, just by watching the painting videos and stuff, and end up, watching live streams of games. So I think at the moment, what I would say is I am quite keen to try a game at some point. And over the last couple of years, I have been building up my own army, I started to build up my own army with a plan, and then that kind of got waylaid by other things, and now I'm not sure if I want to build that army, and so it's kind of, and it might be that the stuff I was building up, there are people that actually quite would like to buy it anyway, so I may not end up with that army that I was working on. My Xeon army may have a completely different home, so it's a very long way of saying, once I've got this whole thing done and I've built the Space Marines and I've built the Death Guard, I'll be keeping the Death Guard. George will get the Space Marines. But by the end of it, it'll be the first time I've actually had a complete army. Or a complete force, because I've got bits of Imperial Guard. I've got, bits of this and that. I had an Imperial Knight, 10 Space Marines, and some other bits and bobs, but I've sold those. So, when I've got these done, it will be the first actual competent fighting force that I could take and play on the tabletop. Look at that. I do like the engines on the back of this. So, yes, hopefully, once... I won't get my own stuff done anyway before then, so hopefully I will be able to then take this on the tabletop and have a play with it. Now, the problem I've got is it's really handy if you and your mates are all into it, because then, one of you can maybe have a table that you set up and you all meet up for a game, or you all go to the same place. The difficulty I've got is the only two places I can play are my local Warhammer store, which is, fine. Not a problem with that at all. I like to support my local Warhammer store. But it's two tables and it's, people I don't know and stuff. That's probably fine. But it's also limited time, and also where my local Warhammer store is a pain in the butt for parking. There isn't any, basically. So that is an issue. Or I could pop along to Goblin Gaming because they've got tons of tables. One of my channel affiliate channel supporters. Link in the description below the video. They've got a load of tables set up, and it's not just for Warhammer. They've got tables set up for Conflict 47. They've got tables set up for loads of different things. I could go there. I can't remember if it's free. Excuse me, free or a few quid. It's not a problem if it's a few quid. Might be a few quid, I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. But I don't have a problem paying for a table. But the problem I've got is just who to play with. It's not like I said, if it's you and your mates and you've got somewhere to play, you can all hang out and play. None of my friends make models or play Warhammer. I mean, precisely one of my friends has a passing interest in model making, and that's about it. So, yeah, it's not like I've got a big pool of people I can play with, and if I do go to Goblin, it's half an hour drive away. It's not, for me personally, it's not like I can just pop down to my mate's house and we can have a game, which is a bit of a shame, really. I think if I'd had that kind of thing earlier in my life, I might have been into it. I'm off to bed. Got to go work early tonight. Stupid health and safety meeting. Oh, well, at least I get paid and fed, says Nim. Thanks for coming in, Nim. More than welcome as ever. Thanks for popping in. Right, a bit of gluey gloopy there, but we'll have to sand that later. Colin's in. Colin at Festa 67 Workshop. Hadn't spotted you there. Welcome, Col. Oh, geezer. Got to say it, of course. Folk Endles. Got to be said. Do. Are those softer looking files also on your Amazon page, Fox, says Joshy. I've got two lots of different ones. I've got the Ultimate Modelling Products one, which I think are in my store. If not, there's other sanding sticks in there. Most of these are Ultimate Modelling Products. I really like them. The big fat blue one was the Flory Model Sander. There's nothing wrong with the sander. I was using the bit... I was swearing at it, but it's because there's chunks taken out of it because I'm an idiot. And it was scraping it. That's a Flory, but I don't think they make this anymore. And I very rarely use polishing sticks anyway. I really don't feel the need. I know I'm not a builder, but I never felt the need to polish the plastic back to looking like clean plastic, because as long as you get rid of all the sanding marks, it doesn't matter if it's smooth and shiny, because you're going to paint it, prime it, and paint it. So I've only ever used those polishing sticks really where, I don't know why I used it on that, to be honest. I've only ever really used them where I've been making gumpler and not painting the gumpler. On my bench now is a plaster as I've just stabbed myself in the thigh, says Lewis Williamson. Dad says, Stabbity Lewis, woohoo! I did exactly the same thing. He says, I sort of dropped a paintbrush and went to catch it with my knife in my hand. I did something similar, but not the same. I had my knife on my desk and I knocked it and it slid off my desk and went into my knee, literally sticking out of my leg like that. Into my leg, and it just stuck out my leg like that. And I was like, knife sticking in my leg then. Oh, it didn't hurt. I could have pulled it out and it's like, yeah, that's bleeding like everywhere. I bet I'll put a cloth on it. But yeah, I've done that. It's not good when you've got a knife sticking out your leg. Eliminator Arts and Crafts says, cool, I'm working on my Mercurius and my Vaieta Revival builds. Vait Revival builds. I mispronounced that horribly. Let's have a look. So Beyond Hope says, is Lewis now Corporal Stabbity or just Sergeant Stab a Thigh? Ooh, got to be Stab a Thigh, huh? Says Dad. Yes, so I can't remember what's in my Amazon store, but I think some of the Ultimate Squishy sticks are. If not, because I can't remember if these are even on Amazon. I don't think the Flory ones are. If not, they'll be similar. You can get these, if they're not on my store, you can get them directly from UMP. It's umpretail.co.uk. You can, if they're not in my store. But if they're in my store, get them from my store because it helps me out. Athel McNichol says, has anyone on here seen the deliberate mistake in this month's White Dwarf on the pages covering Ravengard? The pauldrons are on the wrong shoulders. Oh man, I haven't seen that. I've not seen this month. I meant to get it because apparently it had a Nurgle painting guide, but I haven't got it. I haven't seen it. What am I doing now? I need to put on the spoiler. Spoiler on the back. Can I do that before I glue the roof on? Maybe. It goes into those little slots there, but they're not slots until you glue them to the side. Maybe I might leave that off till the end actually when I glue the top on. So we'll leave the spoiler as a separate part. I'll get it off the sprue though. We'll give it a clean up. Bit of nippers, as a nipper. There they are. Doo-ba-doo-doo. Why does it sound like a car horn when Fox speaks? This is a bit rude. How dare you? Why does it sound like a car horn? And what does that even mean? What does that even mean? I don't even know how to take that. I don't know where to go with that one. Who needs friends when you have a stash, says Osric. That's enough painting for me. The arthritis in the wrist is flaring up. Yeah. You can see on my hands. I've got a thing in my hands where my knuckles have. I can't bend the end of my knuckles. Well, I can't bend this last part of my finger manually. I can't voluntarily bend the end of my fingers because the ligament doesn't work. But also, I think I will probably inherit the arthritis that my parents had. You can see on this finger that little bit of knuckle there is a bit pointy. Yeah, I'll get that way eventually. I think I'll get some nasty arthritis in my fingers. God knows what will happen. Because I kind of need my hands. They're kind of important to my entire channel, but there you go. Yes, Ray is in. How you doing, Ray? How's the weather in Malta? Malta. Got to shoot off the shopping map before my electric runs out. Just noticed I have 5 pence on there in the emergency. Be right back, says Quano Man. Dude, get your money in the meter. Got a nub there. I don't mind a rough look personally. I picture the army looking a little beaten up and run down. I just want the parts to connect to be clean. Yes. Well, I don't do clean models. So George knows. George knows exactly what he's getting into with these. In that we don't know what, when George inherits, he's going to get these. We don't know what the scheme's going to be yet. It will not be Ultramarines. Because Ultramarines is just lazy. It will not be Ultramarines. It's going to be something totally different. But we don't know what yet. But George knows very well there'll be weathering. Oops, nearly. These will be weathered. They won't be battered and beaten. They won't be like beaten within an inch of their lives. They won't be horribly weathered, but there will be weathering. I don't know what yet. I'm not 100% sure what colour scheme George is going to settle on. What chapter? It may be an existing chapter. One of the things he suggested was an existing real chapter. And one of the things was something completely fictitious. So I don't know. We shall see. Ultramarines blue is the best. I don't mind that. I'd have nothing against blue. Unlike Dad, who will just foam at the mouth if you say blue. I don't mind blue. I just don't like the Ultramarines. I think they're a bit of a Mary Sue. I think it's more just fatigue that all you ever hear about is Ultramarines, and it's like, yeah, I'd rather do something else. I don't want to do Ultramarines. So when I do unless it's Space Invaders, then for some reason, Space Marines. If I get some Space Marines for my own army, obviously not for Death Guard, I wouldn't make them Ultramarines. I might not do a custom thing, but I wouldn't make them Ultramarines. Just because it's like, that's all you ever see. Do something different on the table. Get something else on the table. I mean, I do like the colour scheme with the blue and gold. It looks really good, don't get me wrong. From an artistic point of view, they're kind of like, yeah, they're one of the better colour schemes, which is annoying because they're Ultramarines. But I think other chapters have far more interesting premise. You know what I mean. Now, do I want to risk gluing this on now and then messing it up, or shall I just leave it off until the end? It fits into the little slots here, like this, you see. That goes on there, like that, you see. Lovely. Oh, manual dexterity issues. And then that goes on there. Other way around. Ooh, itchy nose. Other way around. You see. Yeah, I think I might glue this on later, I think, when I'm gluing the whole hull together. Because I need it to stay in place. Without the bits around the side, it will pop out because it kind of stretches out. So I might leave that till then. We'll stick it on now. Ray says it's raining. It's bad in Malta. It's raining. No, that's not good. Scale Model Muse is it? Welcome, Scale Model Muse. Terry O'Neill says, hi, chat from San Diego. Welcome, Terry. What's your weather like in San Diego? Reverb, maybe, says Eric Graham. Oh, when you say, do I sound like is there some kind of echo or something on my voice? That shouldn't be happening. Shouldn't be getting any feedback. Yeah, I thought it was a personal insult. I mean, there's some kind of feedback or something on my voice. I don't know. Do let me know, because it would upset me greatly if there's some kind of audio issue. I get very anal about my audio setup. Am I getting an echo on my voice or something like that? Do tell me. My girl thinks she should paint it pink, says Lewis Williamson. Well, you know, I wouldn't put it past George to request a pink paint scheme. Seeing as George has just painted some neon-coloured Death Guard, George would probably quite happily take a pink paint scheme. I think that was one of the suggestions. But there's been a few suggestions made anyway. Right, we need to do on some bits. Let's get some easy little bits done. Muse waves at Foxy. Waving back. I've got carrots. You miss me. Hello. Audio perfect, no echo. Okay, cool. In that case, I don't know. If somebody said I had some echo, I don't know. Not really into Warhammer minis, but Blood Angels are my favourites, says Beckstorm. Cool. I don't know if I had a favourite chapter. If I was going to go for if I was going to paint a chapter, but you know, off the peg chapter, like an existing chapter, who would I go for? I think I'd go for... I mean, I've not tried painting yet, but I quite like the look of the Silver Templars, the new one, because they're silver. I do have the Silver Templars set. I've got a plan for that in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to film a how to paint them guide, but I'm going to try something different with them. But aside from the Silver Templars, there's the Inquisition dudes that I've forgotten what they're called. the Grey Knights, they're also got that kind of bare metal look. I quite like that as well. I quite like that bare metal look. I quite like that. So I might go for Grey Knights, and I know the Grey Knights are kind of like a bit powerful and stuff, so that's an issue to think about. But Eric says, guess it's on my end. If you're getting some kind of weird echo, perhaps you've got a microphone picking. Normally, if you get echo, like a delay or something on a Hangout or something like that, what it means is you've got a microphone that's picking up the output from your speakers and feeding it back into the computer. So if you've got a computer with the microphone and speakers, you've got some output coming out the speakers into the microphone, back into the computer and back into the speakers. That's where you get your echo and feedback. So do you have a microphone that's on, that's also feeding back, or do you have a setting in your audio settings somewhere where it's taking a signal and feeding it back to itself? Echo. Deathwing of the Dark Angels is a good one to paint up, yes. Yeah, so I think I'd quite like the Silver Templars, the yellow and black. That's quite nice. Maybe the Grey Knights. I quite like the one I came up with out of my own head, which was when I did my Principality of Xeon army. I painted some Space Marines. They've been sold on now. My Knight and my those Space Marines have been sold on. I no longer have them, but I painted them in basically Zaku colours, different shades of green with gold trim, and I quite like the way. Unfortunately, I didn't write down my painting scheme, so I can't remember how the hell I painted them. But that was quite nice. It was various shades of green, like a Zaku basically. They were painted like a Zaku, black undersuit, different shades of green on the armour. All the trim was gold. Eyes were red. It's kind of simple. You can figure it out. But it was all like it wasn't Deathworld Forest. It was like Lauren Forest and some of the greens. Moot green. No, not moot green's a bit bright. Some of those like the medium to light greens. Vampy's in as well, so I'm using Vampy in together. I'll get frisky in the chat now. Like the Deathwatch kill team, get a little bit of everything. I like the idea of Space Marines, but I'm not fond of green. Maybe Space Wolves. Oh yeah, I do like the colour schemes for the Space Wolves. The sort of the rust grey, Fenrisian grey, and whatever it is. I do like that blue-grey colour. When I did my Stormwolf, I did the Stormwolf dropship. That was a really nice colour. It was really nice to work with. So yeah, potentially Space Wolves as well, maybe then. I do like the Space Puppies anyway. And I do actually have... I did spend 50 quid on some 3D printed Imperial Knight add-ons for Space Wolves. So you get the wolf head and you get the wolf's feet and stuff. I did spend money on that, so I probably should do a Space Wolves Imperial Knight at some point. Might be a good idea, seeing as I spent the money on the Shapeways third-party Space Wolf parts, which are quite cool. But yeah, I think Grey Knights maybe. I do like the Grey Knight Terminators. They're kind of awesome looking. But I'm interested to try these Silver Templars that I got in the Conquest Extras pack, because I've got a plan for how to paint them. And I want to do a how to paint them video. I've got to do a test first to make sure my plan works. Now I've got my Sazabi. I meant to show you. I've got my Sazabi ongoing. Obviously that needs to finish first. When the Sazabi's finished, it'll be time to do the Millennium Falcon for my E-Models video build. But I'm going to give myself maybe a week before I start that, and I think I'll film the Silver Templars then, because they've not actually technically come out yet. So I might give them a go just to get them on the YouTube. So in the next couple of weeks. But I did want to show you, and I totally forgot, a quick sneak peek. As you know, the Sazabi's nearly done. I'm working on the figure and the diorama. He's not finished yet. He's not anywhere finished. But a quick sneak peek, the figure that's going on the... I'll zoom in a bit so you can see. Hang on. Where are we? Zoom. Come on, zoom. Where's the button? I've got the wrong glasses on. Quick sneak peek of the figure. He's not anywhere near finished. But that's going to be the mechanic in Shanghai Dragons colours that will be working on the Sazabi. It's a look like a little mechanic shop diorama thing. So he's nowhere near finished. I've got decals and stuff to put on him, and I've got to do all the... I don't know whether to put outlining on him at all yet. I don't know. It'd look weird if he hasn't got it. But I don't want to ruin it with outlining, because there's so many tiny details, so I don't know. Also, I forgot it's Borderlands style, so I put metallics on him, and I wasn't going to use metallics. So yeah, it went a bit weird. So that, anyway, sneak peek for you. That's the figure. So basically, I'll zoom out again. Basically, what's left now on the Suzabi is to get him finished, get that figure finished, sort out the diorama, which is basically just a picture frame base, and then it's done. So then I'll take a week out to do my Silver Templars, I think, and then we'll crack on with the Bandai Perfect Grade Millennium Falcon. But yeah, I've got to finish that dude up yet. There's got loads of stuff to do on him. Tool belt looks awesome, says Joshy. Thank you. The tool belt is custom made. The metal tools, I'll show you what I've got. If I can find it. I have. Who makes this now? I can't remember who make it. I got the wrong end. Idiot. I got a photo etch set, which is basically some toolboxes and like equipment for workshops. It's basically like a snap-on tools cabinet. Loads of decals. But it's by somebody. It's a 120 scale toolbox set type B by somebody. Don't know who. But yes, I got the spanner and screwdrivers and stuff from that set. Gluing the screwdriver blade to the handle on the screwdriver handle is a pain in the bum. Yeah, so I got that. And I might be using this on the Suzabi, but I don't know yet. Depends how good I can get with the super glue. I also bought myself like 100 of the little tiny filament wide super glue applicators, you know, for CA glue, where you don't want to get CA glue everywhere. I bought myself a whole mess of those. So that's a set of decals by a company, I don't know who. But the way I figured it out was that the figure is about 120 scale roughly. So I figured 120 scale, we can match that up. So we shall see. Let's get that properly in there. So yeah, not much left to do on the Suzabi. So stay tuned. Once it's done, it's done. And we'll be cracking on. So yeah, I'll take a week out between that Suzabi and the Millennium Falcon to do the Silver Templars. My belly's making noises. Okay, we'll glue these little doodads on. We've got some seam lines. All Hobby Boss decals too big? I don't know, no, I used the Hobby Boss decals. Fox said the Silver Templars are copied off the Mortal Realms insignia, says Athol. No, are they? They're not quite the same. I know they're a bit like the Thunderbolts with the hammers, but they're labelled as Silver Templars decals. Don't know. I've not seen the Mortal Realms. I've not seen the Mortal Realms one. I know the Stormcast have the lightning bolts with the hammer, because they're the hammers of Sigmar. But Silver Templars are a brand new chapter that was actually launched in... It was actually announced and launched in Warhammer Conquest. Apparently. Millennium Falcon would be a year and a half plus 30 plus episode build. Nope. It's only the perfect grade. And I'll be really honest, I built the fine molds for I can build the fine molds Falcon in 2 days. And I can paint it in a week, maybe 2 weeks. But that's just building, not actually filming it at the same time. Obviously filming adds to that. No, but I can guarantee, the one thing I can guarantee is the final episode of the Perfect Grade Falcon set will be episode 6. I can guarantee you that, 100%. Final episode will be episode number 6. Nice little bell, nice fox, nice one Foxy, interesting set, it could work fully scale. I have a plan, I bought several copies of issue 1 so I can build a few extra models and experiment with colour themes. Yep, I've got a couple of spares. What magazine did you get the X-Wing from, Fox? There's Tomcat. It is, the big X-Wing it's a part work, like this is a Hachette part work by Hachette. The X-Wing is by a company called D'Agostini. They do part works, they do things like sports cars and planes and stuff, but they did the studio scale Millennium Falcon part work, and it's called Build Your Own X-Wing, and it is a 100 issue part work over a year and a half, 2 years. Same as this, it's a part work like this, but just build it up over a year, couple of years. D'Agostini and Hachette are both, I mean, Hachette is a worldwide publisher of many things, as is D'Agostini, but they both specialise in part works. If you want to know where to find it, then what you can do is if you go to one of my X-Wing videos, there's a whole if on my YouTube page, on the front page, if you go to the channel home, there's playlists. Go to playlists, go to created playlists, and you'll see there's a playlist there. Everything has a playlist. There's a playlist for the D'Agostini X-Wing. If you click on one of the videos, in the description of each of the videos, it has links for the US and the UK websites for the Build Your Own X-Wing. It's a moment D'Agostini, I think only available in the US and the UK. Might be available in some other places, I'm not sure. The hammer and lightning bolts are what the Silver Templars poured in insignia, but black and white. Don't know. I may well be the same. This won't be the same decal set because there's lots of other markings on the decal sheet that are specific to Space Marines, like unit markings and stuff, and other bits and bobs. But it may well be the same design. Mordraka says the meds have kicked in. I'll start again. With the meds of the arthritis have kicked in, so it's the fact that I've been up for at least 36 hours straight, so I'm going to grab some rack time. Go to bed, Mordraka. Go to bed. Stop watching this nonsense. You need sleep. People who don't sleep get sick. Go and do the sleeping. Go do sleeping. Khajiit needs sleep like everybody else. You should sleep too. Eyelash on my thumb, thank you. Right, so that's them done. Can you get it in the States? I wonder, says Tomcat. Yes, like I say, the go to any of my X-Wing build videos. I've got links for the UK and the US D'Agostini websites. It launched in the US first and then came to the UK. Right, now these are really wibbly wobbly. They're really loose fit. And I hate things like this. You've got to hold them for like 5 minutes until they stay in place. And then you snap them off. So we'll use the fat Tamiya cement because they've got to be a little bit load bearing. Quano Man is back. I am returned, he says. Tamiya regular cement. Do. And we'll attach a Kate. Get in the hole. There we go. And that's not actually anyway straight. Hang on, these are angled, aren't they? Hello. Hello. They didn't tell me they were chiral. This is the thing with the old instructions that don't really give you any information. Well, maybe they're not. Oh, it's upside down for a start, you spoon. They don't tell you that they're chiral, so one of them is ever so slightly longer than the other one. That doesn't look right to me. That looks better. There we go. Yeah, there's a left one and a right one, but they don't actually tell you that on the instructions. You wouldn't know. One of the little rods is slightly longer than the other. Yes, if you just touch the glue to the very end, like that, but use the fat glue. This would be your equivalent of Citadel cement or anything like that, because it's got some sticky stick to it. It'll hold it a bit better than extra thin, which would just fall out straight away, the extra thin, because extra thin welds the plastic but doesn't necessarily, it's got no gloopiness to it, so it wouldn't actually stick anything. It would fall out. You'd have to hold it in place and it would eventually stick, but because of the gloopiness of this stuff, you get that big chunk of surface tension, just holds it in place. Quite nice. So I'm going to leave it for a second. I don't want to run any extra thin on that now, because if I do that, it'll just dissolve the glue that's on there and it'll fall off. So I'll give it a second, have a quick look at chat. Tomcat says, awesome, thanks Fox, off to get some lunch, have fun, thanks for the chat. I hope to join the Skyrim shenanigans on Saturday. You're more than welcome to come and watch on Saturday. Chris says, see you, welcome to my stream in 3 hours. Yeah, don't forget, Tom, if you're still here, Chris does a stream at 8 o'clock. Scale Model Muse has got to go and do adult things. Boring. Adulting is boring. Athol says, it's that time of day when my wee bell has rung, meaning it's feeding belly time, so have fun, guys. Thanks for coming in, dude. Enjoy your noms. I think we're up to date with chat there. Yes, I've given it a minute. So what I'll do now is I will just give it a little touch of the extra thin just to seal the deal. Because like I said, remember, this gives you a slightly stronger bond than the regular cement. Now ideally what you do is, if there was a hole on the inside of the panel, you'd run the glue on the inside like that, but I don't think there is actually a hole go all the way through. Can't quite tell. It does actually. I'll run this on the inside as well, just so it can seep into the hole from the other side, and extra glue on the peg to lock it in place. There we go. I'll make sure they're horizontal. That one's a bit wonky. There we go. You do get a couple of minutes of wiggle time as well, which is always nice. There we go. A little bit of wiggly wiggly. A wiggly wiggly. There's a worm at the bottom of the garden. And his name is Wiggly Woo. I don't know where that's... Oh, yes, I do know where that song came from. My brother came over from the States once. Brought his daughter at the time was only 2 or 3 or 4, I think 4 or 5 years old. Very young she was. One of my nieces was very young. And at one point I think she sang a song. There's a worm at the bottom of the garden and his name is Wiggly Woo. And I'd never heard this. This was an American thing. And that has stuck in my head forever. Never been able to get rid of it. Now, you remember earlier I goofed and I put a big thumbprint on the plastic. Here's how you fix it. You get yourself some extra thin, and you just gently brush the extra thin over the plastic. Remember, it melts the plastic. So brush the extra thin over the plastic. It'll look a bit rough and ready, but it'll kind of blend away some of the fingerprint. Give it half an hour or so. Let the glue do its stuff and flash off. It'll have melted any really obvious ridges. And then when you've given it half an hour to an hour, you just very lightly sand it, and it will smooth it all out. So if you do get any like bits where you've got splobs of the extra thin or fingerprints or anything like that where you made a bit of a mess, don't panic. Just run some extra thin over it, give it half an hour to an hour to set, and then you can go over and sand, and it'll look fantastic. There's a bit of splobbiness under there. I've got a bit careless with the glue. I'll sand that later on when it's all set and cured. There you go, that's that bit. I don't trust those not to fall off, but we'll have to. The footsteps always remind me of the ones on my dad's old David Brown tractor. Yeah. Always remind me of a Land Rover as well, my old Landy. Tomcat says, I am subbed and will be happy to join. To Chris. Good. Eric asks Chris if he's going to be weathering the crap out of his red jet this evening. Oh, don't tell Gemma. In case you wonder what one about, Chris at Gross Models, one of your mods, my very good friend Chris, has his own channel. And after I finish here today, he'll be streaming his Warhammer Sunday at 8 o'clock GMT tonight for an hour and a half. He's currently working on some Aeronautica Imperialis Orc jet bombers. Orc bombers. Bomber. Right, what else do we need to stick on? We need to stick on the things. The thing. There is a worm at the bottom of the garden, and his name das ist the Wiggly Woo. Right, that's a dangly bit. So I want to put on a dangly bit yet. My belly is making all the noise. All I can say is thank God I'm not wearing a lavalier microphone, because all you'd hear right now is belly noises. Right, I've got to get a dangly bit that I can't find. This bit. Oh, it's the dangly bit. That's what. Yeah. It goes here, you see. Now, do I want to glue this on now and become a major pain in the butt for having... I don't know. Yes, I do. I'm going to have to mount this onto something temporarily at some point so I can paint it properly. And what I'm probably going to do, I'm not going to use the flyer base that comes with it, because they're bish. They're absolute gash. They're too wibbly wobbly. I mean, that one I've got on here, every time I pick this thing up, I mean, this thing is glued in place. I think this is super glued on. But every time I pick this thing up, I expect either the base to fall off or it just to snap up here. Because I've got little stones on the base, so I don't trust that fly base at all under there. Not in any way, shape or form. So I always have to handle it really carefully. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably drill a hole out and I'll get some proper acrylic rod and I'll mount it properly. So, yeah. Before we do any painting, so I'll have a temporary swap out acrylic rod, and then a final acrylic rod, which I can probably Let's see where this thing's going to go, because it'll then tell me where I need to put my acrylic rod later on, you see. Go there, that can go there. Shouldn't use those. Chris says, I am everywhere! Chris has the all-seeing eye. Do. If you're joining stuff, Tomcat, don't forget, I'll put it in the chat for you. I've got my own Facebook group, or not my Facebook group, but it is my Facebook group. While you're joining other things, don't forget to join the Model Makers Boom Hut. If you're joining stuff on Facebook, it's basically a lovely, friendly place where you can hang out and just show off your stuff and get advice and help and make some friends. We don't allow bitching and snark or anything like that. It's a really friendly. It's not a group full of yes men. We don't expect people to say things are wonderful when they're not. But the members know how. Most of the members know how to say that something is bad without saying that's bad. You know, most of the members know how to say, how to give constructive and good criticism. That's the one thing sometimes when somebody, occasionally, this is what makes me laugh, somebody in the boom hut, it happens every now and then, somebody will post something up, and it will be something that's like not very good. It'll be something like, well, you know, it's a paint job where there's a lot of things the person needs to learn, or they're just starting out, or something like that. And there's always one person every now and then, they'll be like, wow, that's crap. Why don't you just, like, if you don't know how to paint, why don't you give up? And we don't tolerate that kind of thing. We don't tolerate the get good kind of mentality. There's always, occasionally you'll get somebody that does that. And we push back on it real hard. And we always get someone that's like, oh, well, what's the point of, you know, having criticism if you can't say when something's bad? And it's like, yeah, most people in here know that that's not criticism. Not just saying it's crap, get good is not constructive criticism. Most of the people in there who aren't, like, you know, 18-year-old cellar dwellers and actually have some social skills are able to say that a work can be improved on without saying it's crap. There's ways to say to someone, here is an assessment of your work. There are clearly areas where you can improve your skill set to get even better results. Have you considered X, Y, or Z? There are all different ways they can do it, and most of the members know how to do that. But there's always one every now and then that'll be like, oh, that's crap, that is. And then they just get banned straight away. So it's not that you don't have the freedom to say that's crap. It's that you don't have the freedom to say that's crap in that way. It always makes me laugh when somebody kicks off a little bit about, like, the fact we're telling them off for saying that something wasn't very good. It's like, no, we're not saying you can't say something's not very good. We're saying there's better ways of saying it than it's crap, get good. So yeah, you're more than welcome. Come and join it. It's a really friendly place. You'll be able to show off your stuff and get loads of advice and help. It's a nurturing environment, but that's why I say it's not a yes man environment. We don't expect everyone just to like everything. But the members all know how to be constructive. It's just simple things, isn't it? I mean, I've always used that mentality. No matter what you're doing, whether it's model making or drawing, anything like that, you never give that kind of aggressive criticism of somebody's work, especially when they're just starting out. Like the old "hey, we all have to start somewhere" thing. It's true, because, you know, I've seen it in the past. Somebody does, like, their first ever build. They put a lot of effort into it. They're really proud of what they've done. It's the first thing they've ever painted. And it's probably not very good, and because we all start off terrible, and they put it up and they're really proud, and somebody says that's crap, and it just destroys their motivation. They're like, oh, then I should just stop and I'll go off and do something else. And I hate that. I hate people being put off a hobby because somebody else has the arrogance to judge them as not worthy, without considering the fact that it might be their first ever build. It might be the first time they've painted something. They might be really, really excited about what they've done, and they don't need to be told it's crap, thank you very much. They might be really, really sensitive and completely put off. I hate when people do that. It makes me angry. So that's why I did the boom hook, to prevent that. So we do crack down on that quite hard. So you're safe to show off whatever you do. Let's have a look. I'm definitely not a yes man, says Paul. I like to ban the morons. It's full. Constructive idiotism, says Iru. Boomhut is a great place to join. That Fox positive reinforcement. Feel free to tell Fox's stuff is crap, man. Yeah, you can tell me my stuff's crap. It's not crap, it just means more carrot. I have plenty of carrot. Khajiit has carrot if you have coin. Thanks. Also, a carrot is orange, which is correct, says Chris at Grace Models. There you go. Chrono Man, I've got criticism figured out. All my stuff is crap and everyone else is awesome, except Steve. He's not human, he's a kit bashing god. There is that. Eric Graham says sprouts. Sprouts are acceptable. Yeah, there's like a million different ways you can give criticism without actually being critical. I mean, I don't mean without being. How's the best to explain it? You want to give criticism, but it's a misunderstanding of what criticism means. Really, when if somebody puts up a piece and says, "Give me your honest feedback, your honest criticism," they don't want you to sit there and say that's shit. They want you to say, "I can see what you're going for, and I can see you put a lot of work into it, and it looks really good. However, have you considered?" Or you might say, "That's excellent. I can see you put a lot of effort into doing that. I can see that you've tried to get this, object source lighting, and you've got it. It looks quite good." But you might then say, "However, I think you can take it to the next step if you think about doing X, Y, and Z." Or you might say, it's that kind of thing. You're not just saying that's rubbish. You need to learn how to do an extra thing. You need to learn how to. I'm looking. What am I looking for? I'm looking for something. You need to learn how to be constructive with it. You need to praise and give advice at the same time. You don't just say that's great or that's terrible. You've got to show someone that you respect the hard work they've put into it and the effort they've gone to, but also show them the respect of saying, "And now I can give you information that might help take it to the next level." Because I will be honest, just saying that's brilliant, it's excellent, well done to everything, whether it's good or bad, is absolutely just as useless as bad feedback. The person that just says, "Yeah, it's brilliant, well done, congratulations," because they don't want to criticise or offend anybody, is as useless as the person that says that's crap. Get good. Because you're not teaching, you're not educating the person how to improve. Now, it might well be you don't think there's any way to improve it, in which case that's fine. If you look at a piece and you're thinking that's brilliant, I can't think of any way I would do better than that, then you can just say that's amazing, brilliant, well done. But if you can see somewhere where perhaps the person might be able to up the skill level, take it to the next level, then say so. Because they're not going to know. We're all the same. When we do something, whatever it is, we draw something, we build something, we paint something, we think it's the best thing ever. And we spend all day looking at it while we're painting it or building it. And we lose sight of the flaws. You can't see the wood for the trees. We lose sight of the flaws. And then we post it up and somebody says, "Wow, that particular part looks terrible. What have you done there?" And you'll be like, "Oh, I thought it looked great." But you lose sight of what you're working on because you're right there. So it's how you do it. It's learning how to say that, to say there are things that somebody can do better with a certain level of extra work or with some new knowledge. Because keep in mind, when you see someone put some work up and you look at it and you think, well, it's not very good, I could do better than that. It may just be, like I said before, the person might be brand new. They may have that might be their first ever thing they've done. Big coffee. They may be very young. That's the other thing, of course. I've seen someone slag off a build on a group, like said, "That's rubbish, it's terrible, blah blah, your paint technique," and the guy was like, "I'm 13. It's my first ever build," and it was probably his last ever build. So you don't know. The person could have learning difficulties, or be disabled in some way, or have physical disabilities that make it very hard for them to do what we take for granted. You don't know that, and it really makes me annoyed when people do that. No, it's rubbish. Get good. I usually come up with a response that says "get something," but it's a bit more aggressive. So yeah, we have no tolerance for that at all in Bigfoot. If you're not able, luckily most people in the hut now, they know if you can't say something useful, I don't mean something nice, because there's the old thing, if you can't say something nice, say nothing at all. I don't agree with that. If something needs to be said to improve someone else's skills, then say it. But if you can't say it constructively, then don't say it at all. I want everybody in the boom hut to be able to, at the very least, do what I do. And if you watch my video on my channel, the video on the front page, Who is Model Making Guru, I say, I firmly believe that anyone can do what I do. And I'm no master. I'm just some middle-aged, slightly podgy bloke gluing stuff together really badly and then painting it as quickly and lazily as possible, and it kind of looks all right at the end. There's people massively better than me. I'm not a professional. I'm in no way the best in the world. But I know there's bajillions of people who aren't even at my level. But I know that it's very easy for them to get to at the very least my level and then go on from there. And that's the whole point of what I do. I want people to be able to get to at least my level and then find their own way. I can't teach them beyond my level, obviously. So, and that's why I say in my video, I fully believe that anyone can do the things I do. I've always said it's a question of just knowing what you need to do and how to do it. That's it. It's simple as that. The key to doing anything is what you need and how you do it. And that's it. And so much of this hobby is hidden behind a mysterious dark veil of it's a really complicated dark art, and airbrushing is a good example of that. People look at airbrushing and they think it's some really complicated, massive thing that you have to study for many, many years, and it's a real dark art that only professionals understand. And you know what? That's rubbish. I'm not saying it's a skillless enterprise. Airbrushing takes skill. It takes a certain knack, a certain muscle memory, a certain intuitiveness to understand how the brush works and how it's putting the paint down and how the paint behaves. But it's not an arcane thing that no one can learn. It's a very steep learning curve, and that puts most people off, and I'm not going to deny that, but that's just an example. There's many things that people look at and think, I'm never going to be able to do that. That's far too complicated. I'll never learn that. And I'm like, no, you can, because it's actually really, really simple. Because my trick is, I am the laziest model maker in the world. I really am the laziest person you'll ever meet. If I can find a quick way to do something that looks just as good, I'll do it the quick way, because I can't be bothered with the long drawn out way. Seam line there, I've got to clear up. Oh, dope. So, for me, it's like paint chipping. Yes, you can use chipping fluids and all that kind of stuff, and it looks fantastic. But you know what? I'm lazy, and I want to show people it's a certain skill set. Getting paint chipping to work well using chipping fluids takes a certain amount of skill and talent, and it's something I can do. I can easily do it, but it's that is kind of a dark art that nobody ever really explains it properly. That to just try it yourself, it takes a long time to learn how to do it. So I'm the lazy model maker. So I say, you know what? You can just paint the paint chips. It takes a little longer, but it's less effort and less skill. So I am always trying to show ways to demystify this hobby and make things accessible to people as much as possible. And I can't remember the tangent I was going on, but it all ties into not just saying that's rubbish, get good. It's all the same thing. It's not some arcane dark art. I mean, you've seen me. My building skills are bish. I'm terrible at building stuff. I never say that's my skill. My skill is painting, not building. And I think it's important to humanise the hobby and show that because what I've learned over the years, the one thing I've learned over the years, doing not just model making but drawing and art and all that kind of stuff, is something I've seen over and over and over again. I can draw a picture, for example, and I will sit there and draw that picture for a day, and I can see all the problems, all the flaws, all the bits that didn't quite work, all the perspective that's gone wrong. That foot doesn't look right, the eyes aren't right, the hair looks stupid, the shading here, I had to cover it up with a load of ink because I made a mess of it and it's all gone wrong. I know all that stuff, and I look at it and think, it's a bit rubbish, it's all right, it's not that bad. But to someone who doesn't know how you do that, that's a masterpiece. You could take an object and you could paint it a colour, and then you could dry brush some silver paint on it, and it would take you 2 minutes. And to you, you've done a lazy weathering job. You've just painted it black, and you've gone, you know what, should dry brush some silver on there. You go, it's weathered. There you go, done. A bit of a brown wash maybe for some rust. Done. And to you, that's a lazy quick job. To someone who doesn't know any of those processes and doesn't know how any of that works and just sees the end product, they might think that's a work of genius. They might think that's a work of hours and hours of stuff that they've done to get, and it's like, no, it's just some dry brushing and a wash. So you have to keep that in mind, that what you take for granted is absolute myth to somebody who doesn't know. When I was a kid, I used to look in the Tamiya catalogue, and you'd look at the builds of the tanks and stuff in there, and you'd be like, wow, I could never make a model and paint it that well. They look amazing when you're a kid. Now I'm an adult, I look in the old Tamiya catalogue from the 1980s, and some of the paint jobs are garbage. Some of the figures have just got flesh paint painted on them, and that's it. And it's like, not even a wash. And of course, when I was a kid, I didn't know any of that. So to me, they were masterpieces. Now I'm older, and I've done that, and I know how you do it. They're like, wow, they were garbage. Your perspective changes. So you have to keep that in mind. To the uninitiated, everything's magic. And you have to maintain that magic and also encourage them to learn the new techniques. And that's what I tried. I try and teach people how to do stuff that's not the hard way of doing it, to give them the easy ways to do things, so that later on, I'll teach you how to paint on chips, so that later on you can go off and discover you can buy paint chipping fluid, and it's kind of complicated, it needs an airbrush, and it's a bit tricky, and it requires a lot of timing, but it looks better. I just want to give you the introductions. Anyway, what time are we on? Half 5. Let's have a quick look at chat. I kind of just got onto my little waffle there. I quite like doing little riffs like that. But yes, anyway, boom, nice safe environment. People will tell you if it's rubbish, but they'll do it in a really nice way. There you go, that's what I'm trying to say. Chris says, right, food and stuff. See you later. See you later, buddy. I am back. Resume amusing interactions, says Paul. I personally prefer model building over painting, but I think it's because once I built it, I want to play with them. When I was a kid, that's what I used to do. I used to get them, build them, play with them, and then break them. Then my dad said, I'm taking to the shop. If you're going to do it, you can do it right. And he took me to the shop and got me a kit and paints and everything. And that set me off. Painting over a wet palette. That's funny, says Eric Graham. Yeah, Chris. Oh, Chris does that. The Dow of Plastic Crack. Do. Car. Quick question. So I'm doing a CSM at CSM. What's CSM? What clashes with pink? Contrast volupus pink. Pinks. If you want to have a real contrast against pinks, you're kind of looking at. I've not got a colour wheel in front of me. I've done this for years, but I still can't remember the colour wheel without looking at it. If it's a real bright pink, you might even want to be looking at some of the more neon colour schemes. But like a pink, you might want to look at some brighter greens, perhaps. What else works really is a nice contrast. Black and pink can be quite stark. Can be really stark. Obviously, you've got to paint it carefully, because pink over black is just transparent. It'll be a nightmare. But black and pink can be quite contrasty. Greens, bright colours basically. Bright green, bright pink, because it's red. It's basically red and green, but pink and lime green. Maybe this kind of, maybe that kind of colour, a really bright limey green, perhaps. That's another fun thing. Each of the mods has something they're really good at. It covers most of the areas of model making, like knocking the camera. That's my area of expertise. Lime green will be fun, but most blue, green, purple colours should clash. I think if you've got bright volupus pink type colours in your model, you may as well go hog and just go out with a crazy colour scheme. There's no point being all realistic and sticking pink in the middle of it, because it looks a bit weird. You may as well go all crazy and just have a real bright, nonsensical synthwave disco style, colour scheme. Have fun with it. Team Inept says go about 90 degrees around the colour wheel. I reckon you'll get some nasty colour clashes. Yeah, I've not got the colour wheel. Like I say, I know my shizzle. I actually need the colour wheel in front of me to see it because I'm useless. Games Workshop has a paint app. Bruv, check it out yourself. Oh yeah, you may not know that. Let me show you. I shall take my phone out of its folder that's got all my credit cards and stuff in it. You don't need to see that. If you've not seen it before, and I'll just put it in airplane mode for obvious reasons. Chris, Dad. Yes, if you've not seen it before, Citadel does have a paint app somewhere here. Citadel does have a paint app. If you can see this, it's absolutely free. And I recommend you download it. Now, it's really handy if you're using Citadel's paints because it goes through their specific paints. But at the same time, it's also handy if you just want ideas for colours. But you're not, even if you use, say, Vallejo paints, you can still apply the same colours for colour schemes. And you can do it by colour, you can do it by model, you can do it by basically, if you want to paint a specific thing, and you want to do it like an official colour scheme, for example, you might be like, right, I want to build an Achillean Alopex from the Iron Rack Enclave. There you go. Now, it's not going to show you the pictures because I'm in airplane mode. Hang on. Oh, well, I'm going to have to come out of airplane mode. Am I? Or is it just not broken? It could be slightly broken. Hey, the app broke. Yay. Let me close that down. Let's try again. I broke the Citadel app. Yay. There we go. Yeah, so there we go. For example, you might want to paint the Achillean Alopex, which is an awesome shark dude. And you want to know what colours. You want to paint it that colour. You like the box art. It goes through all the colours. It shows you the different colours. Elven Metal, it lists all the different colours you're going to use and does them this way. You can also do it by colour. You might say, I want to paint something, I want to paint something pink. And it'll give you, it's not going to show you here because I've got an airplane mode, but it'll show you all the different colour schemes and what colours they've used to get those. You can also have an inventory of your paints. You can put a wish list so you can walk into the store and you know which paints you want. There's loads of guides and tutorials on that. It's absolutely free. It's worth it. And if you're not using their paints, it's still worth it because, like I say, you might be using, say, Citadel, you might be using Vallejo Air paints or whatever, Vallejo game colour. And you can still go in and get inspiration. Like, I need to do a pink colour. Well, Games Workshop says this pink, and this red. Well, I can use this, and this instead of those three colours. I've got, that looks like this particular Vallejo paint, that looks like that. And you get the inspiration then. If you want to do a pink, for example, you can go in there and look at how they do a pink, their paint, and use that yourself. So it's worth getting anyway, just as a real simple free app. But there's also colour wheel apps on iPhone and Android as well, on mobiles. So get yourself a colour wheel app and get yourself the Citadel paint app. It's worth it. I was thinking bright green, says Eon's car. Watching who's inspired me. I'm grabbing a coffee and going to make a start on some Poxwalkers while I continue to watch. Yeah, Poxwalkers are fun. I've got 40 of them to do, and when they launched the contrast paints, I did this little chap in 5 minutes. Let me zoom in for you. I've done it before. I did that little chap in 5 minutes using some contrast paints. Forget the trousers, just for the gunky, glurpy flesh that looks minging. And it was quite just like literally just wet blending over and it took me 5 minutes. So when I do my 40 Poxwalkers, I'll paint the clothes and stuff and the weapons and things properly, but when it comes to the fleshy bits, not the horns, but the fleshy bits, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm going to be using contrast paints on them just for the... I haven't got the mental fortitude to sit and paint 40 Poxwalkers to like Games Workshop tabletop standard. I think I would end up just like my soul would die and I'd try and eat my own face off or something. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. I'll be using contrast for those, I think. But just for the fleshy bits. The contrast paints are great for that. The round, squishy, fleshy things, they're great for that. Right, so we get coffee. What time are we on? 7:35. I kind of busting for a great big wee, but I don't want to go for a great big wee and then come back for 10 minutes. So we might make it a shorter show today. What can I stick on here quickly that's not going to require a lot of faffing about? I said something else then. Faffing is the word I was looking for. Fox, that's the word you were looking for. Faffing. Not anything else. We can put this plate on the front. This glasses plate. I know it's not actually a glasses plate, but... I'll tell you what's going on in my mind at the moment, though, because like I said, I've got my Sazabi to finish, which won't take long, and then I've got my Millennium Falcon. Got my big Millennium Falcon, perfect grade, 3 models, and between those two, I'm going to try and film painting the Silver Templars with my cunning paint scheme idea that I've got. Even though they sent me a paint scheme, a book how to paint them, I'm going to paint them differently. Right now, you know, like when you're working on something, but in your mind there's one little project you want to work on and you can't shake it. So no matter what you're working on, there's one thing, and you fantasize about building it and painting it in the back of your mind. No matter what you're working on, at that particular point, you just fantasize about this one particular build. Right now, for the last couple of months, all I've had in my mind about this urge to build and paint is my Forge World Macarius Vanquisher. And the other tank that George very kindly got for me, the Bernie one that's called the Flammy Tank. It's officially called a Flammy Tank. Can't remember. It's not the Macarius Vanquisher. It's the I can't remember. Anyway, it's that one. I really want to build that Macarius Vanquisher. I really want to get it, build it, and paint it in a proper awesome World War I paint scheme with mud and dirt and stuff. So I've got to kind of resist the urge to just drop everything and do that, because I can't do that. But you know, that's my current I need to build this itch project at the minute. We all get the itch where you have to scratch it, but I need to do that. I don't know why. It's just like, I think it's because it's just badass and it's deathcore. So yeah. Hi honey, I'm so at home. That just killed the joke. Never mind. Dave at Butcher That Model says, "Hi honey, I'm home." And Beyond Hope says, "Sorry darling, you live next door." Oh my, the vicar. The bank manager. Oh no. Sitcom. Yes, I really want to build that. I have also been scouting. When I was saying earlier on about I've got a big stash, everything, and not big stash, but I've got all my stuff, and I'm trying not to spend money this year, so I probably won't buy anything new. I have still been checking out on Facebook, on eBay, not Facebook. Excuse me. Scouting at eBay for pre-assembled but not painted Death Corps of Krieg squads. Given my failure to build Death Corps of Krieg 10-man squads and refusal to ever try again, I'll be going on eBay to buy like the infantry firing or the infantry at rest. I'll just be buying them where they're pre-assembled, because you can often get them for a little bit cheaper, but also pre-assembled. Often they're usually like built and primed, and that's all I want, because I don't want to build Death Corps. But I want Death Corps. Death Corps are awesome. I want to paint them. I want to paint Death Corps. Death Corps. They look fantastic. All right, this needs to go on in a certain way, and it goes on. The way it goes on is that way. So I could be really awesome and build it up, because nobody ever builds it with the windscreen up like that, do they? Because all the detail, they always build it down. But you know what would be fun is to have the windscreen up. My God, man, have you not finished that land speeder yet? Says Dave. He's been working on that part for 20 minutes. I take my time, Dave. I'm too busy looking after the good people watching and listening and reading, thinking of their needs and desires above my own. Shall I build it with the windscreen up? Because nobody ever does that. Nobody ever build. They always build it with the windscreen down, and it looks stupid with the windscreen up. But by the same token, it seems a shame to lose all the detail on the front. Aru says, Ali got some cheaper, don't know quality. If you mean Deathcore, I refuse to buy knockoffs. I'll always buy them, even though I'm not buying it from. If I'm buying Deathcore pre-made, I'm not buying it from Forge World, but I just patently refuse to support anyone that does knockoff stuff. That's just me. I think we're going to do it with the windscreen up, because why not? But the problem is there, Fox, nobody in the world is as fussy as you with mould lines. Yeah, there is that. Right, so this is going to be the windscreen part. I want it to stand up. So you know what's coming. I'm going to have to use the fat cement carefully in small amounts because it needs to stand up. So extra thin cement will just fall off straight away. So let's get that on there. We'll slot it in like that, and that will just sit in place straight away. If I'd done work with extra thin, it would have just fallen off straight away. Not many people build it with the windscreener. I am. There we go. Done. Yes, I won't buy knockoff stuff. Even if I'm buying like somebody else has built them and I just need to paint them, it's still a sale to Forge World. And it's the real thing. If it's a knockoff, even if it's somebody else that's made it, if it's a knockoff, it's I see it as illegal theft. I'm a creative, you know, I'm an artist, I write music and I do this, and I have that viewpoint that doesn't matter if it's a big corporation or, you know, Bob Smith making his own little resin. I've said this before, when it comes to resin stuff, I don't care whether it's Forge World or, you know, some bloke in his garage. At the end of the day, for somebody to take a mold off somebody else's product and then sell that, it's theft, it's stealing, it's intellectual copyright, it's everything other kind of copyright, and I refuse to support it. Because that's not cool. Unless, like I said before, unless of course, you know, somebody's doing a remold or a recast of a kit that no longer exists. That's fine, because you're not taking the food off someone else's table. And that's on there. Cool. So you have to use thick glue to make it stand up. That's where I've been going wrong. Well, it's also got two little feet that hold it in place as well, which is kind of handy. But I've always used the thick glue. The thick glue I always use for arms, for anything where I've got to, if I need to be able to stick two things together and then let go and not have them fall apart straight away, I'll always use the thick glue first. Let's have a look. Conroe Junction, hey guys, welcome Conroe Junction. Aria says, you like art, you sponsor it, agreed. Yeah, that's the thing. I'll always, you know, I think it's mostly with resin kits as well. That's the thing. A lot of the recasting stuff is around resin kits because it's cheaper to do. But the thing is, aside from your Forge Worlds and some big companies, most of them are small little tiny garages, independent artists. So when you get a remold of a resin kit, 95% of the time it's a remold of some little tiny company that might be a guy and his wife or just a couple of people working in their garage and making small runs. So if you've got a choice between, you know, Bob Johnson, who makes 50 from a mold and that's all he'll ever make, and he might sell each one of whatever he's made for like £100 because he needs to get his money back and make an income, or some Polish guy who gets one off him and then makes a copy of it and sells thousands of them for 20 quid each, I'm going to get the guy from the original, from the guy who made it, because I'm putting food on his table. This guy's just a thief. The other guy that took the mould and copied it, that person's just a thief with no talent, no skill, and doesn't deserve my respect. The person that made the original, yeah, I'm going to get his every time. I'm not going to pay a thief. Quite simple. I'll always support the little guy. And I know Forge World isn't the little guy, but at the same time, you know, if everybody's ripped off, say, Forge World stuff, they'd just stop making it. Same with Dragon, Momoko, and other kind of companies that rip off Bandai's Gunpla kits. If people stop buying Bandai stuff and went for the other stuff because it's cheaper, Bandai just stopped making Gunpla. So there you go. Yes. We're up to. So I'm up to date with chat. Right, that's that glued on there. What time are we on? 1:45. Little widgets I can glue on. Yes, there's a thing I can glue on the front. Little widgety thing on the bonnet. Widgety thing on the bonnet. I'm not going to be using these like 3-dimensional chapter markings because George may not want an existing chapter. No point gluing on your Blood Angels marking if he wants something else completely. I want to glue on. There's a bit I can't find. There it is. I think my neighbour is listening to some kind of music with a rhythm, because it's getting a very gentle, thumpy bass sound. But it doesn't sound like mouth-breathing chav music, because it's not. It's just like occasional. It's almost like in original series Star Trek, when in the Doctor's medical bay, that bass note that the heart monitor used to make, boom, boom, but not as regular. I'm off on a tangent there. I know, I'm always off on a tangent. You would expect nothing less. Khajiit has tangents if you have coin. A doo-ba-doo. Got mould line, got a little nub on there. Is that the Scout Speeder, says Conroe Junction? No, this is the 2-man bog standard Supermarine. What am I talking about, Supermarine? It's not a Spitfire. I'm too tired. It's the bog standard 2-man Space Marine Land Speeder. It's like about 40 years old, this kit. Not sure about you, Fox, but I like doing this hobby with classical music playing. Do you ever listen to music when you do this hobby? And if so, what do you like? Asks Jossie. Foreman Green is in. Welcome, Foreman. Yes, absolutely. When I'm working, there's one of two situations. I will either listen to podcasts. So at the moment, my two go-to podcasts are the Giant Bombcast for video game stuff, although over the last couple of years, it's kind of stopped being as interesting and funny. I used to listen to it quite a lot. Or my big go-to at the minute is the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, which is a fantastic, intelligent podcast, which everyone should listen to because it is fantastic. It's very funny in a lot of places, but it's also very informative, and I am vehemently pro-science, anti-wish-washy nonsense, woo-woo crystal tree-hugging, sandal-wearing nonsense. I'm violently against such rubbish. And I'm utterly pro-science, so to me, Skeptic's Guide to the Universe is a fantastic podcast. But also, music-wise, my tastes are very strange. My very strange tastes I've got. I will listen to kind of weird things. I don't really listen to songs. I have no interest in pop music and dance and rhythm, drivel like that. I don't listen to pop music and sing songs and stuff, with the exception of ELO. And the only reason I listen to ELO is because my mum and dad used to listen to when I was a little kid, so I grew up with ELO. But even then, I don't listen to it that often. But typically, I'll listen to. I like movie scores, but full orchestral things. So some of my favourites would be the soundtrack from the Stargate movie, which is David Arnold. That's fantastic. Tim Burton's original 1989 Batman soundtrack is fantastic. Batman Returns, the second one, wasn't quite as good. What else have I got? I've got the John Williams Jurassic Park, which is a fantastic soundtrack. The original Jurassic Park. Star Wars, of course, the original New Hope. The soundtrack on that is excellent. And some others in there. What else have we got? I'm currently listening to the Skyrim soundtrack. I've taken out all the fighting music, and it's just all the ambient walking around the landscape music and all the ambient in caves music, and it's amazing, just very relaxing. Destiny is a very good soundtrack. Video game soundtracks, orchestrals, video game soundtracks. Destiny, Skyrim, really, really good. My favourite of all time soundtrack, and I don't mean soundtrack like songs on other. I suppose I mean original movie score or game score. Soundtrack is not like a chunk of songs that other people have done. I mean like proper score. Probably one of my favourite game soundtracks of all time would be Medal of Honor Frontline. Michael Giacchino. It's an incredible soundtrack. Absolutely. He's never bettered it. Everything he's done after that has been absolute bish. My favourite movie soundtrack would have to be The Wrath of Khan. That's my absolute favourite movie soundtrack by James Horner, who wrote, the best soundtrack ever written, The Wrath of Khan, but also wrote the worst soundtrack ever written, the nonsense Titanic drivel that we had to sit and suffer. He did that. But then there's weird little things. Weird little things I'll have in my playlist. Like, I love Wendy Carlos. Her music, which is like 1960s, 1970s, early synthesizer, doing Bach. Switched on Bach, the well-tempered synthesizer, the Brandenburg Concertos, all on Moog synthesizer. I love that. The well-tempered synthesizer is an incredible album. I love it. It's all really catchy. I have Mike Oldfield's Amarok. I can't stand most of what Mike Oldfield does because it's just poncy and boring. But Amarok is just, you can't not like Amarok. I have that there. I also have a collection of most of the 2005 onward Doctor Who soundtracks. Not all of them. Some of them are a bit garbagey, but some of them I've got about 4 or 5 hours of that. I've taken out all the stuff I don't like, and it's just the tracks I like. That lasts me for hours. But my pride and joy, my absolute pride and joy, is my collection of production music, library music, you could call it, I suppose. Over the years, I have garnered a collection of music from things like the KPM Music Library. There's a few others I can't remember the names of. Basically, it's music that's used and created purely for production purposes. So you're a documentary producer and you need some music for your documentary. You don't pay a composer to come and write the music for it. You just need to get cheap and quick music in the background. So you go to somewhere like KPM or I can't remember, Audio Networks, I think is the one I use. I've been to. And they have just basically like pre-done, pre-made music for TV and film production. If you're in the UK and you watch Horizon, you will recognise big chunks of my library music because there's a composer called Paul Mottram, who I think is brilliant. I love Paul Mottram completely. He writes so much music that you would recognise when you hear it from things like BBC's Horizon and stuff like that. It's used all the time. I've got a massive collection of all these pieces of music from various music libraries. And a lot of them will actually let you play it. You can go to the website and you can play the music, and I just record it straight from my desktop. You can't actually buy a lot of this stuff. You can't go out and say, can I buy that album? No, you can't buy it. What you do is your production company, you go to them, you see, I need this piece of music, that'll be 300 quid. There you go, bang, and then you can use that piece of music. Or you license, it's licensed music. So I just go in and I play it and I record it, and I don't sell it, and I don't do anything with it, so I'm not breaking any laws or anything. But yeah, it's fantastic because I'm not using it in production. I'd never use it in an actual production. So it's composers like Paul Mottram. Paul Mottram's stuff, I actually found his stuff because it was one track they always used on the BBC in science programmes and Horizon. And it got to the point where it bugged me so much because it was always being used. I went onto the internet and I did a search for... I just described the music in a Google search, and I found it. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly the composer I'm looking for. And then I found out who it was. Great. So I've got this big collection of like television production music that I treasure, and it's the reason I love it is because it's like I'm not a big classical music. I don't really like classical music. I like some Baroque. I like Bach. I like a bit of Scarlatti perhaps, but classical music I don't really like. I like the sound of the orchestra, but classical music is a bit boring. But the thing with movie music is they tend to use all the easy quick hooks. The leader ohne Wörter, as the Germans would say. They use the quick hooks, and like soundtrack music and library music is all the best bits of like movie soundtracks distilled into a simple form. You need a piece that's action music, you need a piece that's emotional music, you need a piece. It's like that, but without all the bits in between. I love it. It's easy things you can have to listen to. So yeah, soundtrack music. He also has the complete works of Arnold Rimmer's Relift music on the Hammond organ. Yeah, no, not that bad. Right, so what am I doing with this? Where does this go? This goes apparently there. There we go. Well, I can't glue this bit on because this bit sits on top of... Or can I? This bit sits atop of the bonnet, but also glues to the side as well. So I could glue it on, but I have to be careful not to glue it to the side. I don't want to take too many risks. What I might do is, again, fat glue. Fat glue can be your friend. A touch of fat glue here where the little lamp is. Very delicate touch, just a tiny amount. And I can glue that onto the bonnet. Like that. Without risking gluing it to the rest of the hull. There we go. That's on. I can make sure it's in the right position. Perfect. Perfect. Almost perfect. That's in, so I can get some extra thin in there now. I can make sure it's fully properly glued. The other bit of advice as well, if you do use the fat glue and any of the glue splooges out of your little joins, you can use the extra thin just to run along the edges and the joins, and it will dissolve away that fat glue and just smooth off your edges a little bit. So that's on there. Just do another quick dry test fit and make sure everything's lined up correctly. Yeah, so like production music, it's fantastic stuff. That should go on properly. Or have I just shot myself in the foot now and caused a major problem for myself? It is entirely possible. I may have made a boob here. May not. Oh no, there you go. It's still going to fit. Careful, that's all. There we go. Yes. Yes. Perfection. That's great. That is lovely. Leave that to sit and set. Fantabulous. I do like the Wrath of Khan album, but have you listened to the Interstellar soundtrack? Says Tom Cat. I have not. I've seen the film. I don't remember anything about the soundtrack. What I tend to do is if I see a movie and the soundtrack grabs me, I tend to then, that's how I find my movie soundtracks. If I've watched a movie and I don't remember the soundtrack, it probably didn't grab me. What about War of the Worlds, says Joshy. No. I grew up in the 1970s. I denied the War of the Worlds soundtrack. Like Lord of the Rings, says Joshy. I've never watched Lord of the Rings movies. I can't stand fantasy nonsense, so I haven't watched them. Don't ever get in a car with Dad and Fox. Dad being Mike Mountain, of course. Don't ever get in a car with Dad and Fox. After 30 minutes of yellow, my brain started to dribble out of my ears. Yeah, Dad likes yellow, and so do I. So don't get in a car with me and Dad. Tom Cat says, I'm back and you're still live. We're about to not be live. Halo Reach, best game soundtrack. Yeah, actually pretty good. Best album ever is Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. See, I'm not a big songs type person. Enough faffing about, says Osric. Time to mask a canopy. Good luck. My music playlist looks like I've seen a squirrel, says Eric Graham. I've never been able to work out why the land speeder has a cattle prod, says Butcher that model. No, I don't actually know what that's supposed to be. What is it? A TV aerial? Is it a cattle prod? Is it for zzz? Never quite figured that out. Very weird. Or what this bit's supposed to be. I don't know. But if the power goes off and it goes clunk, you're a bit knackered, aren't you? What about the Frozen soundtrack, says Lewis Williamson? Is now banned. We don't do Disney children's films. Thank you very much. We all like, fair enough, we all like different music, says Joshy. We do. That's the thing. I have no choice to like it. Oh, there, says Lewis. Yeah, what about the Frozen soundtrack? Because he's obviously been exposed to it many, many times and has no choice. I don't have kids. I don't have to suffer that. Yeah. Can a third person fit in a car with Dad and Fox? Dave's only small. Is the cattle prod a weather vane, perhaps? There's no roof on it. I think they can pretty much see what the weather is without having to have an instrument to detect it. I think. Just on a hunch there, I think they probably see what the weather is. Yeah, music from them things. There's no point ever saying I like this and you're wrong because you don't like it. Because there's no point. Because everybody has different tastes. I don't like classical music that much, but I love the sound of a full orchestra. Only thing I can say about the Frozen soundtrack and movie, says Beyond Hope, let it go, let it go. Here's the thing, right? Very, very quickly before we go. The one thing that bugs me today with animation, CGI animation, I have no problem with computer animation at all. I love it. It's brilliant. I just wish at some point we get away from this trend that everybody looks. The overarching design now seems to be that whenever you see somebody in an animation and it's computerized animation, they always have that kind of look That kind of, you remember what the characters look like in The Incredibles? They always look like that. Even to things like the new Xbox avatars that came out a couple of years ago, it's got that Pixar look. Every Disney movie, the characters look the same. They all look, it's like, oh God, can we get away from this big eyes, wonky sideways wibbling jaws underbite now? Oh, they need to move away from that now. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. Ugh. Beyond Hope says the Disney animation. Yeah, big eyes, that kind of... The only way I can describe the way the mouths work is the wife in The Incredibles. That kind of lower jaw sticks out a little bit more and they talk from the side of the mouth a little bit. A little bit like the jaw goes sideways. It's like that kind of... It does my head in. Everybody does it. Nobody, even non-Disney. It's like, can we just not do that anymore? Can somebody do something new, please? Please? Plus, I hate Disney kids stuff anyway. It's just drivel, Frozen. Oh, God. No desire to ever watch that. Butcher that model says, do you want to help me hide the body before it starts to decompose? Do you want to hide the body? The smell is getting up my nose. Grandad gets told off at this point. You can have my two experience it, Fox. The kids, I mean. No, I don't have kids. Frozen soundtrack gets me in trouble. There we go. That's why he says that. Right, I think we're going to do it. It's 2 minutes past the 6 o'clock. I've done a little bit. You don't watch my videos to see me actually do stuff. You know that's not the reason why you watch my videos. I'm wallpaper in the background. I'm audio wallpaper, and you guys hang out in the chat. So, yeah, not to worry. Anyway, yes, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to make sure my buttons still work. Let me give you a bonus TED to make sure my buttons work.
Slap it on.
Yes, buttons are fully functional, thank you. Yes, excellent. So, yes, thank you very much. I'm going to have a listen back to this when I've finished and see what the audio was like with my microphone in its new place. Let's see what's gone on. I might carry on with this afterwards. So it might be if we move on to the next one next week. I don't know yet. Although the next one, I have to tell you this. After we finish the land speeder, that is not happening. It's not happening. The next one after the land speeder is not issue 48 Space Marine Bikes. It is issue 50 Some Chaos Cultists. We'll come back to this rubbish later. It's off camera where I can do lots of swearing and cursing and hatred. Yes. So I don't know. We'll see what next week. We'll either carry on with this or I'll have finished it because I've not got that much left to build. I've got it in its sub-assemblies. Yes. Tomcat says it's been enjoyable. Can't wait till next week. Thank you very much to you and to Joshy. Both of you knew. Both of you stuck around. To David, who was in earlier. I'm sorry this wasn't what you thought it was, but maybe you'll come back. It's good fun hanging out. Just come back anyway. We love you anyway, even if you don't love us. You're all my favourite children. Yes, anyway, don't forget, now this show is finished, don't forget, of course, check out all the links in the description below the video for my Amazon store, for Goblin Gaming, for e-models. If you do want to go to Goblin Gaming to get some really, really massive savings on your Games Workshop, Malifaux, Conflict 47 and everything else, use the link in the description below the video. It's just down there. Use that link down there. Don't just go to Goblin Gaming. That tells them that I sent you and I get a little bit of income from that. It doesn't cost you anything extra. I just get a little bit of commission from that. So do use that link down there if you're in the EU or the UK. But check out all the other links. They're all ways you can support this channel. Of course, if you'd like to, you can support me directly on Patreon, patreon.com/model making guru. Link is in the chat as well. If you want to help support this channel directly. Lots of good stuff coming up this year. I've had a slack last 6 months. The next 6 months next year, we're going to have lots of things coming up, including some fun stuff you've never seen before. But yes, don't forget, of course, 8 PM tonight is Chris over at Gross Models. He's doing his Warhammer Sunday. He'll be working on his Orc Bombers, so go and check that out at 8 PM after you've had your tea. I'll be back tomorrow with Chris, Colin and Ted for the eModels live show on eModels YouTube channel. Tuesday you will have another Books of Skyrim video coming out. I'm making that a series now on Tuesdays. So Tuesdays you will be getting The Madness of Pelagius. Yes, I think that's the next one, possibly. I might change it anyway, but that's the next one on Tuesday. That's coming out. Then throughout the week, the Cesabi. I know it was a Patreon exclusive series and I was filming it, but I need to get it done and sent to George, so I'm not actually filming that. I'm just going to get it finished. So you won't get any more videos from that, but as soon as I've done that, I will be filming... probably next week now, I'll be filming painting the Silver Templars. And then when they're done, I'll be cracking on with the big perfect grade Millennium Falcon. So do stay tuned for all of those. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Go and do lots of lovely things. Enjoy your dinners. To all the people that came in today who are new, welcome, and I hope you do all come back. But yes, anyway, I shall leave you there. So make sure, go make something awesome, like this. It's kind of awesome. Go be awesome, although you already are because you're here watching me. See, clearly you are awesome. And I shall say until next time, adios, amoebas.